she somehow figured it out, man. And when I was about 4 or 5 years old, we crossed over to the States with that border crosser card that I'm telling you about. And I just remember my mom saying, hey, so, yeah, you guys like it here? Yeah. Well, we're living here now. Me and my brother were like, what? We get to stay here? The land of like McDonald's and like ice cream and, you know, dreams and all these things that they had been telling us for our short lives. We were psyched for it, right?
Podcast and stuff. Yeah.
What's up? How you doing, brother?
Yeah. Oh man, like I'm just looking out my window and like some dudes here with a mic.
Who's that creeping in my window?
Boom. Pow. There you go.
Nobody now.
Oh shit.
Hey, you know what? Nobody's perfect, and guess what? I'm nobody. I'm perfect.
Shit.
Shut up, dude.
Yeah, that's the clip right there. That's the intro right there. It'll be like mad redundant because then it'll start and then you'll just see the same exact clip.
Dang it. Word.
But no, that was cool, man. Who? I haven't asked this in a while because a lot of my guests been repeat guests, but repeat offenders. But who am I here with today?
My brother, you are here with Arturo
some guy.
I just fucked up my own name.
It's tough, man.
You know why?
Tough.
I'm gonna tell you something. I go by many names.
Oh shit.
Arturo Barz, Peter Pan, Trey Flip Funk, the Albino Chicano.
Oh shit.
The Becky with the good hair.
Oh.
You know what it is, man.
Damn.
It's all love, man.
All
energy.
love.
That's me. Energy. You can refer to me as energy.
Damn. In motion.
In motion.
Constant motion.
That's how I do, brother.
Let's go. Who is energy in motion?
Energy in motion is that dude that constantly aspires to create and be different and rock the boat, man. You know?
Why you be rocking the boat? That was for Aaliyah, dude.
What?
That was for Aaliyah.
For Aaliyah?
That was her song. She had rocked. That was like one of her last songs before, I think. Was it on the Jet Li soundtrack, that movie she did with Jet Li? But that was a Timbaland produced song. I swear it was. I swear. If it wasn't, it's still around the time she died. It might be her last real music video. Yeah.
Timberland's hard.
Back when
Shout out to Timberland. I know he's watching
beats
right now.
for people who mattered, you know?
Word.
He does it on purpose. He totally could do it. But I feel like he likes being in this underworld right now where... Because if you do look at his wiki, he's still making stuff. But I swear like 90% of it is for like new people. So it's like if they blow up, it'd be great. But like he's not doing it where like, all right, here's Nelly and we're going to dominate the charts. And here's JT and we're going to dominate the charts. Yeah. He's just kind of like that. Which sucks because I like his music.
What was his last hit?
Shit, that's a wiki search. I don't know. It's been a while, man.
Yo, he goes hard. He was like, he's part of one of the... one of those dudes that you can always go to that are always just mad ready to drop hits, like Pharrell, for example. I remember Timberland was right there with like Pharrell. Yeah. Dr. Dre always dropping hits.
You know what was funny is all the stuff we know him for, they used different stuff back then, but like he did a masterclass. You heard of these masterclasses?
Masterclass. Why does that sound familiar?
It's just like tutorials by famous people though. So he did one of those recently. And dude, the homies on Ableton, he's using the push like all of us. It's just crazy. Like now he's just on the same gear that all of us are using. And I say this a lot to like all my friends, dude. Like at a certain point, I feel like the level they get to, I feel like there's no difference between them and us in terms of like the music quality and stuff. But is there everything else?
I think one day somebody just decided, you know what? Pro Tools is the industry standard, and then you hear that all the time. Well, that
comes from years ago, too. Yeah. That comes from years ago.
But that's what I'm saying.
So now we're talking about the tool. I just meant the quality of music.
Yeah.
At this point, if we're talking about tools, like, no, mad people just use Ableton who are, like, that shit changed. Mad people just, you know, many producers making thousands of millions of dollars, and all they have is FL Studio on. They cracked, like, Windows.
I saw this tweet by Madlib where he just put I
haven't heard Madlib in a while, dude.
You haven't heard the Freddie Gibbs thing?
Is that
Freddie Gibbs and Madlib?
Nah.
Yeah, dude, Bandana. You crazy? Probably one of the greatest hip hop albums of this year.
I gotta check it.
It's insane. Well, anyway, he got together with Madlib and they created another banger. I don't know if you heard Piñata, right? You heard Piñata?
Nah,
Cocaine Piñata?
I live in a bubble when it comes to like me being a consumer on anything, just beyond, especially music. But I kind of, I'm always making shit, so I don't necessarily get to
Hey, you know
shit.
what? I can't hate on that, man, because, I mean, I try to keep it balanced between consumer and creative.
Yeah.
But
it's
and
hard.
also like
it's
hard,
it's
important to stay kind of current.
Man, all my
and, like,
friends
know
make
what's
shit,
going
and I
on.
try to consume some of that too. So it's just like,
hey man, you're supporting the homies, and that's what's up, man.
It's hard,
That's
man.
what's up. So anyway, Madlib put out this tweet, where he says all the beats on Bandana, I made them on my iPad. And it's like, and like you listen to the album, and you're just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
That's what I'm saying. There's no difference in what they use now at this point between them and us. I think I told us to cry on maybe around day 1 or something. Like, you know, because he's real happy he's doing it. I was like, dude, at the same time, or maybe even before, I didn't even tell him in the studio, but I'm just saying, like, it could always be done. Even his stuff's harder because it's a band, but I'm like, you can still do it with a lot of overdubbing. The main obstacle will always be that right there, the drum kit. But even that is doable. It just, you know, it's just annoying. It's just, it's a work. But I mean, like, especially if it's just electronic shit or beats or some shit, like, there's no difference. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the real difference at this point is, like, whatever it is, the marketing or whatever it is to take to get that fan base. Like, most of us haven't figured that out. If all of us haven't figured that out. Because then it would be our livings, you know?
Hey, man. And I mean, we're dealing with oversaturation. Everyone wants to be an artist. Everyone wants to produce.
But I feel like everyone always wanted to do it all the time. The only difference now, I think people would say, is that...
the internet.
Yeah, but what I mean by that is that, like, it's easy to do all these things now. So that's how you get the oversaturation. So maybe people who would have been like, man, I would love to be a singer or a rapper, they probably wouldn't have tried back in the day because, oh shit, I do A, B, C, D, E, fuck that. But now it's like, oh, I just got to download this app from the phone from the store. Like, I'm ready. Like, let's do it, you know? So that and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But still, like, even those guys still need to figure out the same thing. How do you get a fan base and stuff? Because there's a lot of those guys too who still can't figure it out. So
there's like the pros that, like, you know, throw money into everything from fan bases to like plays and streams and all that stuff, and they pay for everything to make it look like they're legit. But they still can't catch any wind, like, even with mass promotion like that. You know,
you were, you know, we were talking about this and like all the stuff the cameras and stuff. But dude, like, if I was starting again today, like, I probably would have nothing. I'd probably just stay on my phone. And because, like, all this stuff's cool, and I use it because I have it, but it's like, man, like, there's so many people killing the game, and that it's their living, and they got nothing, you know? And I'm like, why would I? Like, I almost, like, even me talking about getting a new computer, it's like, man, like, I guess computer's foundation, so maybe that's actually important, but, like, I'm almost always anti-getting stuff. And in terms of, like, to create, it's like, kind of just use what you got, because, yeah, man, like, you can, you know, one, it'll force you to think different and stuff, and then two, if the goal is to make it, like, none of those things really matter at the end, dude.
Yeah.
It ain't like the 90s or something.
It's a gift to be uniquely resourceful, and that comes from, like, you know, having a little bit. So it's always good to start from the bottom and work your way up, as opposed
Shout
to,
out
like,
to Drake.
I mean, that fool, I mean, I'm sure he worked hard to when he first started. Maybe he's talking about starting from the bottom now. I'm here, starting at the bottom, meaning auditions when he was an actor. And that just opened a door to another door to another door to another door, you know? So maybe if he did start at the bottom, that was the bottom. Maybe he's not talking about
music necessarily.
You know, no, not even music, but like maybe economic status or like, you know, just living in the slums or whatever. Like, I doubt that was ever the case, you know? But yeah, man, when you don't have a lot, what you do have, you really just overexert, and you just find every possible way on how to use what you do have. So when you do get something that's nice, you're like, oh man, now the possibilities are endless, right? As opposed to like, okay, here's the latest technology for this. Okay, great, I have the latest technology. I'm gonna do this and this and this and that. Well, how do I do this thing? Oh, well, that's super basic. That's something that you learn, you know, generations of this technology from a long time ago. you know? So it's not always good to just like for example, the kids that grow up with like trust funds and they have like all this money and their parents are just super rich and everything, and they just live a very affluent life. Things like changing a flat, you know, whatever, you know.
Be fair, I can't change the flat.
I mean, dog, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Little things, little life things like that. Like, oh, how do I go pay an electric bill? They don't know, and they freak out. And like, you know, thankfully Google is there now. But dude, you like, the less you have, the more you learn.
Yeah,
so when you do get those things eventually, man, you're on fire, dude. And that's been the story of my life, man. Honestly, you know, just
well, what is the story of your life?
Man, dude, just you know, being uniquely resourceful now comes from just really being kind of put into a very difficult situation. It's a lot more difficult now in regards to you know, citizenship and immigration and stuff like that, because I was originally born right across the border in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, right? So that's right across the border from Laredo, Texas. And the idea behind it was my parents, who were originally from Guanajuato, León, Guanajuato in Mexico, which is like central Mexico. They fell in love. They got pregnant with my older brother, Albert. And then they had the idea to move to the States because they foresaw, my dad was a real brilliant guy. And, you know, he was an activist. He was a writer for the newspaper until he eventually got canned for, like, you know, really talking about these really crazy things. And, you know, he was also a musician as well. So he was pursuing other things, and he knew that in the States there would probably be better luck, right? Economically, just opportunity. Everything would be different here in the States. So they moved from Guanajuato to Nuevo Laredo, and we stayed there for a little while during my brother's pregnancy. So the time comes for my brother to be born, and they try to rush over the border to have him in an American hospital. Now, keep in mind, this is in the late 80s. This is like in 87. It was a lot easier to cross. You just needed a little card that was called a border crosser. And, you know, even children could have them, and they would just take your picture. You know, they would see that you're, you know, oh, you seem like a nice person. Come on in. And, you know, after 9/11, everything changed. But, you know, that's me going forward a little bit. So they tried to make it across the border for my brother to be born in the States. They realized there wasn't enough time, so they had to turn around and have him in a Mexican hospital. So he was born with a Mexican nationality. Same thing with me. So we both ended up, because we're only about a year and a half, a little bit more than that apart. So they tried both times to get me and my brother over to the States to be born here. Didn't work. We stayed in Nuevo Laredo for a few more years, and then my dad got sick because he was a real big time cigarette smoker. He would smoke 4 or 5 packs a day.
Oh man!
So you know he's dead now. He died a long time ago. You know, obviously, if you smoke that much, you're not going to be around much. And you know, my mom was already kind of getting fed up with that. I got a little bit of asthma from it. My mom did too. She has like some lung trouble too now because of that. So she was like, "Look, man, you know, go take care of what you got to take care of and come back, send me some money because I need help with these kids." He didn't. He kind of stayed over there. He got real sick, and he never really got to get back on his feet, right? So my mom, you know, being the hustler that she is, being the uniquely resourceful person that she is, she somehow figured it out, man. And when I was about 4 or 5 years old, we crossed over to the States with that border crosser card that I'm telling you about. And I just remember my mom saying, "Hey, so, yeah, you guys like it here? Yeah. Well, we're living here now." And me and my brother were like, "What? We get to stay here? The land of like McDonald's and like ice cream and, you know, dreams and all these things that they had been telling us for our short lives." We were psyched for it, right? And then we immediately got enrolled into school, went to school. Since my brother was a little older, they held him back a year because of the language barrier. But I went right in where kids were coming fresh in from Mexico. So I caught that wave right at the perfect moment. I never got held back a grade. As a matter of fact, the next year when I got to first grade, they put me in the gifted and talented program because they saw that I was picking the language up very quickly. And I enjoyed reading, and I would always make up these little silly stories, and my teachers used to say that I used to say like the funniest things, and like I always had something to say that was just kind of like, what? You know, I think it was destined for me to be some sort of writer or MC or, you know, anything like that. And my father as well. I didn't grow up with him, but my mom used to tell me like, man, seeing you on stage with my band Radio Tierra, she's like, it's crazy because your dad did the same stuff. Like he wasn't rapping, but he was reciting poems, and he had a guitarist with him, and he had some vocalists, and he had a drummer, and he had a keyboard player, you know, and that's actually how him and my mother met. My mother was one of the backup singers. So it's kind of crazy, you know? Yeah. So it's always been in my DNA. However, I wasn't taught these things because, you know, being from another country, economic opportunities are not, you know, very fruitful. My mom had to kind of find a way. She had to find out, she had to fit in where she could, you know, wherever she could get it. And she would do odd jobs. Sometimes she wouldn't get paid. It was really tough. And, you know, we slowly formed alliances and kind of settled ourselves. And eventually, you know, we got to be in a much better place. And it got to the point where I could move out of my mother's house. When I was 18 years old, I moved out. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to have my own spot. I want to do my own thing. This before I knew I wanted to be a rapper or do anything with music. I always knew I loved music since I was a kid. Yeah. But I never, you know, I've always had the itch. I've always wanted to be a performer. So even just like, I don't know, like acting, doing music, theater, just any way I can express myself. I've been doing that since I was a kid, just on a smaller level, you know, but it took time to find what my real niche was. And, you know, once I found out about hip hop, once I really found out what hip hop was, that's what just really changed my life. And I was like, oh, all you need is to kind of like get some recording software and, you know, kind of get some beats on YouTube or whatever. You know, that was the mentality back in the day. Oh, this is going to be great. And hip hop. Yeah. And like it was also a defense mechanism for me because when I first came, when I was growing up here in the States, I got bullied a lot in school. So it was always a constant battle of like, how do I get people to stop bullying me? Obviously, in hindsight, just punch them back, say some words. You know, I didn't learn this till much, much later. Yeah. I thought you were just supposed to take it, you know, and me being in my position of like, hush, hush, don't tell anybody where you're from. We're living here kind of like ghosts. You know, I couldn't ruffle any feathers. I couldn't get into fights. I couldn't get into trouble.
Don't want to attract attention.
Yeah, because you know the possibility of deportation was very real, and I grew up with that fear my entire life till I was about 16 years old. So you can imagine the level of anxiety I was at. I couldn't necessarily defend myself, as I mentioned, so it was kind of difficult. But once I found hip hop, I heard hip hop my whole life, but I was on the side of like, oh man, fuck rap music, man. It's all about rock and roll and like blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, man, that's not music.
I was the opposite. Growing up in South Bronx, it was South like Bronx. Everything was like, fuck everything else.
I mean, and that's its inception.
We mentioned the internet. If it wasn't for the internet, I mean, like, you know, obviously maybe eventually you get older, you change. But it was the internet where I first started listening to not hip hop. Like,
really?
Yeah. It was, and I can go into more detail later, and I've told portions, but basically, like, it was Korean pop music in 1999. K-pop? Now it's normal, but in 1999, I got Psy on VHS when he wasn't fat, and VHS
what?
too.
No
VHS,
way.
Yeah, he wasn't. Thousands of years ago, he wasn't fat. It wasn't, but I never imagined that dude's gonna be world famous. So I was just jamming it.
He would have the most viewed video on YouTube.
At one point. I think he's been surpassed now, but yeah, he did at one.
Old Town Road? Or
I mean, who knows? It's because there's always more and more coming, but if you look it up, it was some single that, for me, I don't care, you know? Yeah. And it's funny, I ignored, that was called Gangnam Style. I ignored Gangnam Style.
Oh, dude.
Because if you look at his singles around that time before, and maybe even after, but definitely before, he always does that as a single, like, and it's an electronic-y hip-hop dance song, and it's always him being Psy and stupid and crazy. So I was like, I remember it came up, like, when it actually came out, I was like, it's another Psy song, I'm good. But the thing that made me finally hear it, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, was all my American friends, like, I live in America, but all my American friends who don't listen to K-pop is what I meant to say. I guess because people were posting it, that I was like, "Why are you posting this? Like, why are you
Mr.
posting?"
Worldwide, dude.
Yeah, well, at that point, but now everyone kind of is. Like, it's the great balancer. So you have to like almost try harder and harder to be more unique, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like we was talking about when I mentioned podcast, the unique thing I do, even though everybody has a podcast, in terms of I guess local content, I do like long form content, dude. I mean, like a lot of people are like, man, you should like put out clips or do short things. Well, I mean, I do put out clips, but honestly, I'm trying to not do that anymore. But basically, because people are always looking at shit from the idea of making it, and like, believe me, I'd like to quote unquote make it too, but it's like, I know that I also gotta do what I want, and I like long form content. I like the stories. I know all that shit. Like, you just told that shit's crazy.
I got like, a million of them, man.
and you see, like it's like what you were saying about the rich and stuff. Is like, see, you have perspective, and that's why you're in a certain place to get your house, because it's like the life I lived. I was very much, I guess, sheltered. So like, I guess I'll still have the fear at times of like maybe taking off too far or something, you know, or that's why maybe I don't have a house yet or something, because I don't know, it can be easy to settle versus striving for more, you know, for me.
Sure,
so I mean,
sure,
because we all got our journey, man. We all got our journey.
You know, I am a million times I would live my life the way that I did. I would grow up the way that I did a million times, through all the sadness and all the pain and all the, you know, all the Christmases with no gifts and all the Thanksgivings with no feasts, you know, man, that stuff really makes you stoic and makes you resilient, and it makes you appreciate every single little thing that you get from anybody. Anybody that knows me, man, I'll say thank you a million times for anything you'll do. And another thing is I'm very strict about paying for my services and paying my debts, and also being paid for my services and any debt you might have with me. You know, I wasn't always the best with money. I'll admit it. I've made my mistakes. You know, my credit score isn't what it is today. Yeah. You know, but nowadays I realize that karma is a very real thing. So, you know, anytime you affect anybody, especially financially, you're gonna suffer. You're going to suffer. So appreciate everything you have. And man, dude, handle your business, man. Handle your business.
I think I've always been kind of all right with money. I think lately though, I do have a decent amount of debt now, but I'm not too ashamed of it, because I'm not like, I've never been a credit card guy in terms of accumulating credit card, but I have it now. But it's like, dude, 95% of it I only have because I live this kind of free life, you know? And I'm like, well, most of it was just me having my time, you know? So I didn't have to like do the normal 40-hour thing. And you know, I may or may not have to come back to that, you know? But I'm also confident if I do come back to that, well, then I'll just pay it off like that, because that's just, I don't have a lot of wants in terms of like, oh, I want to buy this. Like, a lot of those things don't make me, I just don't do it. It's not enough. You know, it don't do it for me.
Yeah. See, that's crazy. Yeah. Because that's a different perspective from what I know, because, you know, maybe you grew up with a little bit more than what I had. So you just said, I don't have a lot of wants, right? Because you never necessarily had the need to be like, oh man, you know, I really want this thing, and I know the only way I'm gonna get it is if I go out and get it. As opposed to like, oh, maybe pops can help me out, moms can help me out, grandma, whatever, whoever can help me out. And my situation was very different.
My first love was video games, so like I always just wanted video games growing up. So I was very lucky they got me some of those. And then maybe around PS2 era, that's when I started paying for my systems. And once I could do that,
because you had to feed that addiction at that point. You were a junkie, dog.
No, I was. That's why I don't own any systems right now, because that's still kind of there, you know. Yeah. And then there's two forms of video. I do like video games, but then I also love fighting games. So that's kind of semi-banned too. I'm thinking of bringing it back at some point, because I've gotten to touch the arcade sticks recently in Austin. And I'm like, I feel like I feel like it's a healthy thing for me. Like if I have it there, I just gotta like. I would probably have to cap myself, maybe like 20 minutes a day or something.
Well, it's hard.
Like,
it's hard to moderate, man. I mean, we all have our vices.
It just can't be. I have to just take it where okay, you can't try to be the best anymore. You just but maybe because I feel like it's a form of self-expression in there too that I miss and need. And the idea of those games last eternal because when played properly by like the people who are really about it, you only play them against other people, and people are always evolving and different. So like it's an eternal game, you know. I'm always fighting somebody, and it's like some type of thing, man. It's really nice. It's really nice.
I see it. I see it like in people's eyes when they're so focused on a game.
Yeah.
And I can say that because my brother is a huge video game player, and he loves, that's his thing. If he's gonna have fun, he doesn't want to go out and go to the club and do this and do that. He wants to play his video games. That's what he wants to do. And I remember when we were kids, one of the kids on the block got what was it? I believe it was Donkey Kong. There's a stage where there's like these little rails and you have to jump, right?
Yeah, the roller coaster
rail.
shit.
That one
had great music.
Yeah. I remember so vividly my brother, the first time he ever got it, just being blown away by it. And I remember he was pressing the buttons, and every time he would jump, he would be like, and he would like, it was like he was just, I could tell he was just engulfed, and I saw it in his eye, and I was like, man, this guy is gonna love this forever. And I remember I would beg him, let me play, please let me play. He never let me play. Thank God he didn't let me play. And now I just have no desire to play video games.
Yeah, it's good and bad.
You know what? I'm a spectator. I love watching my brother play video games, or at least I used to. I remember I would just be like, oh God, I want to watch the TV, but we only got one. He's playing video games, so let me just watch. And that was my TV, just watching my brother go and, do his little quests.
I'm torn on that stuff. Like, because I will put on Twitch, but like, I think at this point, this is for me beyond, like basketball would probably be my next love after video games, but like growing up, now at this point, no, I try not. Do you know Brainwave?
Brainwave, is that the dude from Time Wheel?
Nah, but he might have like played a show with them at once. But anyway,
is he an electronic guy?
Yeah, he's from Austin, but he lives here now. He used to live in Austin. But
he sounds familiar. I think we've won.
So he's been playing stuff, and Xylo played with him, and Craw plays with Xylo now, but recently. But that dude, I don't remember why the fuck I brought him up. Like, there was a reason we talking about video games, and
Brainwave did something.
Oh, basketball. So he's a big basketball head. And
NBA 2K.
No, like the real one. The real basketball. not that one. The real basketball. Who knows? Maybe he likes that, but I don't think he has any systems. I'm not sure. But he always would want to play me, and played him one-on-one, and found out he kind of sucks. Sometimes he watches these, so
it's kind of trash.
You kind of
trash.
He knows he's
trash.
But like me, like who doesn't play no more, like I kind of suck too. So but he definitely still has the passion, and like I could recognize that. I played a 5-on-5 with him though, man. The one-on-one is whatever, but I played a 5-on-5 with him, and when I was like depressed over that girl, like really hard, and like that was a reminder of like, this is why I only play. He's like he's probably been one of the only people in those 2 games I played with him where I allowed myself to play, but normally I use the Bill Russell rule. I don't know if you know who Bill Russell is. He's a legendary basketball player. He played in the 60s and the 70s. Maybe not 70s. Maybe 70s.
I only know the San Antonio Spurs.
Dude. I know like
2000 and on.
I know nothing about basketball right now, but I used to know too much about basketball lore from like 60. 70s get skipped for some reason, but then 80s, 90s, and like 2000s, like
everybody was stoned
till Tim Duncan.
Everybody was stoned in the 70s.
I don't know, 70s were, I think the ABA is there. If you ever heard of that, it was like the not NBA, basically. Like it's just not NBA, but it still kind of mattered, but didn't really.
Is it kind of like where the NFL is like the
AFL for a minute? Yeah, it's just that, and like it was just kind of a funky time for it's where basketball goes into a funk, like. There are good players there, but just for whatever reason, we only talk about these highlight years. Like Golden State Warriors blew up because of Curry, but the Warriors actually won their first title during that 70 span,
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Knicks, who are great at losing, also won their 2 titles during that 70 span, Maybe this is why we forget about these things.
Man, you know what? Since we're on the subject, man, the Spurs have lost.
I heard.
I'm
I'm kind of surprised because I'm just used to them always being decently good because I'm a big pop guy. I'm going to blame Tim Duncan and his coaching.
Is he coaching already?
He's not the coach, but I believe he was supposed to join staff. He's like an offensive coach or a defensive coach or something like that. And to be honest, I don't watch no games. I don't know nothing about basketball now, so I could totally just be wrong about all that. He grew those
dreads out.
He did?
Is he smoking weed?
Maybe.
Tim, are you smoking weed?
He's chilling, man. He did it. He already served his time. So
he did, man.
He did it.
You know, it's just we're so used to being like champions. And it's like we have the cowboy syndrome.
Yo.
Like every year.
It's funny you say that. Because I used to tell everybody around here, like, because I had a friend who, loves Spurs, all that shit. And there was a few people who would be calling for Popovich's head. During the time that Tim Duncan is still there, but at the end of his years, when Ginobili and that's when they would play when LeBron's on the Heat, so around that era, and the years they didn't win, they'd be calling to fire Popovich. There was a little plunder because they would lose in the playoffs around round 2 and stuff, and it's like, yo, you guys don't even know, man. Like when this guy leaves, you guys are gonna. Let alone when Tim leaves, I was like, when Pop leaves, you guys are
we're gonna turn into the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah, it's like. But people don't see that. They just got used to this, like, always being there. Like, 50s guaranteed. Yeah. I'm like, yo, this shit's hard, man. Yeah. Like, the thing is, like, that dude is real good. I think he's probably the best coach ever, Popovich. Like,
hey, you know what? Just a superb human being altogether, man.
That, too. That's the bonus. But
when are you going to get Pop on the podcast, man?
I want to. Someone was having, a serious discussion with me. Yeah, bro, come on, dude.
Get him on the pod.
Come on the pod. I'll tag him or some shit. Make this a clip. But somebody was asking me like, yo, man, you should get some real people on your podcast. I was like, I know. You want to help me?
You know what, man? Every person on your pod could be that next person.
Well, yeah. And that's not even why I get them. That's not even why I get them. Yeah. There was one person who actually I got her on because and it's actually is that girl I was depressed over. But at that point, I don't know her.
Just kidding.
I don't know. Probably music people play it, so everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say on this. Anyway, but at the same time, I'm not trying to cause no drama because I never even dated this person. I just had feelings for her. But the first time I saw her perform, the first time I meet her, I was like, all right, pretty girl, whatever, because there's a lot of pretty girls that do music. But then later on, that night, she performs, and I was like, oh, fuck, what is this? I was like, I got to get her on my podcast now because she's going to blow up. And, the truth of the matter is, it don't matter how good you are because this woman's amazing. Her voice is amazing. And her stage presence,
and this was Nina Diaz.
Yeah, just kidding. But she loses herself in the moment. She becomes someone else, and it's fucking great to watch. She's just amazing up there. But unfortunately, because I'm like, yo, if talent was all that matters, she'd be there already. And you too, man. You go hard too, man. But Tommy Wong went hard. There's a lot of people when I see them perform. They next level. A lot of them. No offense to my producer friends, we just hitting buttons. So more often than not, it ain't you guys. When I see you perform, this is me visually. That doesn't mean your music ain't there already. Yeah. But just visually watching them perform. But a lot of some of these performers, man, they're just oh shit. But talent ain't talent. What is the next level to make? Just like we were talking about, how do we get the fan base? And if we knew it doesn't. So here, I guess I'm doing a really bad job of saying this, but basically. I said I play fighting games, right? And we talked about basketball. Those are great things. Spurs will be a great example of this, actually. No one likes the Spurs. San Antonio likes the Spurs. Yeah. But especially in their prime, if we go to, most people will remember the end in Spurs where Tim Duncan's there, but it's really Gino and Tony and then Kawhi. But in reality, when it was Tim at the lead, they were the boring, slow defensive Spurs, and the league didn't like that shit. And proof of this is when they play the Pistons and they have the honor of being the lowest rated finals in NBA history, because the Pistons too played defense. Damn. Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace, those Pistons. So it's just boring fest for most people, unless you're into basketball. And Floyd Mayweather would be a great example of this. The only difference is that people pay and show up for him. But they show up from because they hate him. They hate the Spurs, but the Spurs aren't evil people.
They're like, he's gonna get knocked out this time. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, so they hate the Spurs, but they hate him in a boring way because Timmy is not angry. Timmy's not out there like fuck the NBA or not. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's just a nice guy, and so people don't want to see.
It's almost how they hate like purist hip hop. It's just it's because you guys are too by the book.
You see, but let's leave that to the side because the point that I'm leaving is both in boxing, no matter how boring you might think Floyd is because he boxes, or how boring the Spurs are, you can't deny that they win because your opinion doesn't mean shit. But when it comes to music, whether it be you or that girl performing or Tommy Wong, because Tommy Wong had the passion at one point, it doesn't matter how good you are because it's opinion, dog. Yeah. There's a better word than opinion. But, even in battles, dude, even hip-hop battles, I can't really beat you. It's a fucking fan base opinion. You know what I mean? If one person's really whack, then it might be kind of... but in reality...
That one.
Yeah. But in reality, I can never really beat you. You can't, unless you just tap out and give up or something. But, it's kind of art and verbal jousting. So, really, you shouldn't really ever tap out. But it's not like a fight. And it's not like basketball where it's like, man, Spurs really suck. But they also really won no matter how bad. Or Floyd Mayweather's 50-0 for as whack and boring as you might think. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
Skateboarding, same. I love skateboarding, but it's a judge sport. That's what other word I was looking for. Music is a judgment thing. You know what I mean? And it kind of sucks because it doesn't really matter how good you are. Yeah. Being good has nothing to do with making it. You know what I mean?
It's based off of what do I like? What do people like?
Yeah.
Somehow certain artists have just the biggest fan bases, and people like you and I that are in the music industry as far as on the underground level, we're just what is the appeal to this? Why do people like this? But if we can go back to passion, let's talk about passion, okay? And another thing I do want to mention too, this is what's different from passion to doing something creatively, anything, basketball, playing video games, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a difference between passion and doing a thing, right? Okay, so hip hop battles, that's a fraction of what hip hop is. Right? If you look at the hip hop gospel, if you look at the hip hop gospel, peace, love, unity, having fun. That's what hip hop's about.
Yeah, we wiped that away.
We had the 4 elements initially. Yeah. We had b-boying, MCing, DJing, and aerosol writing, right? Yeah. And then just recently,
never heard it talked that way before, but aerosol. Sure.
You know what? I heard Bam say it once. Africa Bambaataa.
Oh, okay.
I heard him referred to as aerosol writing, and
that's
I was
funny.
Whoa, that's funny. That's cryptic, old school language. I'm I'm taking it.
Taking that, yeah.
I'm taking that.
That's what we artists do, baby. We take it.
Word. And that's what hip hop is.
Yeah.
Hip hop
is
nothing that pulled from everything. That's why hip hop can be done reggae, jazz, anything you want. There's a hip hop form of it because that's where hip hop.
I understand the sampling rules, but that makes me sad because, and it's fun. I create music, but damn, I always. If I was an effect guy, I said I'm not an effect guy, but I would have a counter. How many? Because I said it in the last podcast. All right, well, this is time number 1. I'm gonna mention that girl. Well, here's time number 2. You know, so I got depressed and I started making music, right? Because of that girl. But I sampled her, you know, and that was the first time I sampled music in a long time, and it's cool because it's totally different. I make music, I can play instruments, and I like both. I don't think one is better than the other, but it's oh, I missed this because you come up with something different when you pull from because you're influenced by them.
Yeah.
Versus it is great playing my guitar and doing stuff, and I love that too. But now it's only me. But in a way, I'm collabing with whatever sample I'm doing because it's making me think a certain way, it's making me react a certain way.
Some of the greatest verses that I've ever written have been based off of somebody telling me
it's been a long time. You take something, you take something, you take something from something,
Yo, but listen, every time I've written just a classic verse, I've written verses where I sit down and hear the beat and I'm just I know exactly where I'm going.
Yeah.
But there's been times where it's yo, hop on this beat with me. Okay, I listen to the beat. Well, what are you talking about? and they'll tell me one sentence, one word, one phrase.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's it.
That's all you need.
That's it. And that's all I need. And then I just branch off.
Yeah, man, like you know, my performance, you know, we're working on my performance. Like on the crowd album, you know, I'm working. And honestly, dude, I wrote that here, and I wrote that in my head too, where you told me, like, memorize the lyrics. So next time,
you have to.
I've never done that before. I've never done, so I'm going to do that. And who knows, that'll make me transition to acting, because I've like never had to memorize stuff before.
For the people that are watching right now,
yeah,
it's a lot better to rehearse as opposed to show up and sound like you're reading something in the studio. Unless you have like a great,
especially me, who I'm new to it. I'm new to it.
Theatrical background.
Like, were you there like for
Nick?
Nicholas?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nicolas killed it, man.
Yeah.
And like one take. But you know what? I promise you, Nick had some sort of rehearsal before he went in, because he already had it on his phone.
Yeah.
And he went in there and he blah da da.
Yeah.
And he really, like, if you listen to the audio, you can close your eyes and see him.
But you guys are seasoned in the activity anyway. I have
no theatrical training.
No.
Whatsoever.
In the activity of rapping or performing, like, I just mean in your activity, whatever you're seasoned. I'm like still playing catch up.
Sure.
So like little tips like that are like, oh shit, never even thought about memorizing my shit.
I'm not a good singer by any means, but I try my best.
Yeah, they cut that part.
They're like,
they cut that part.
No, but you know what? I've been working on it for lots of time, because I jam with Los Nahuatlatos. They took away the mic too. I jam with the San Antunes.
But eventually someone's gonna let you.
No. Yeah. But check this out. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it. I'm not gonna give up. I know I can sing. I just have to work on it. Yeah. Right. They're saying take a break. Sure, I'll take a break. No problem.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it. And like, for example, you know, little tips like the one that I gave you. The other day, I was sitting right where you're sitting, and I was sitting with my roommate Felipe.
Yeah.
And we were talking about singing, and I was like, oh man, you know, it's just they tell me to sing from here, and they tell me all these tips, and I have to breathe like this, and I have to do that, and I have to do that, because I've paid for lessons and everything, the whole jazz, right? And one day he told me one thing that changed my entire perspective on how I was singing.
Hit me.
So this is gonna be a nice cheat code from the homie Felipe.
Yeah.
But I would always like, so if I was like, la, you know, it was like, okay, it's kind of there, but not quite. Yeah. And he told me, he's like, you know, someone once told me to make it nasally. What that means is when you let your breath out of your mouth, also let it out of your nose. So it's like, la. And that way it comes out through your nose and your mouth, and it flows out the way it's supposed to project. You know what? It may be true, maybe not. It works
for you, yeah. You gotta find your shit.
I saw the difference, and then like somebody heard us on the radio, because we were on the radio the other day.
Yeah.
And actually, the DJ, I was telling the DJ, yeah, man, you know, I can't really sing, blah blah. And he told me, you know what? You could have fooled me, because you sounded great. And I was like, hey, that's the first time somebody's giving me positive feedback. That's why I implemented that little technique.
I keep telling everybody, dude, this is only like song 4 or 5, whatever I'm on, like, I'm gonna do 100, and by 100, I'll probably figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
Passion. Passion.
I'm gonna do 100.
It all goes back to how dedicated are you to this?
Yeah, because my friend tells me too, like, we do these, I can say it's not like shitting on him or nothing, but we do these like collective
shit on him.
Beat release.
Shit on him right now.
Well, it's not shit on him, but yeah, it's like this Feedback Alliance. They do these like beat compilations. So I was like, yo, man. That same track I said I sampled that girl. I was like, there's a version of me rapping on it. I think I sent it to you. And he was like, yo, man, you should send us the instrument. But he's, keep working on it.
That's the worst and the best. Because that's like, and they just, that fire that's burning inside you that may be dimming down just goes.
Yeah. Well, you know where I'm trying to get. So where I'm at, I'm trying to, because I also know it's fake. But for me, because just based on the history, because I used to like try to like rely on that, like you said, like, you know, prove others wrong and stuff, like the fire, because he said it, and it's like I'm trying to stay away from that, because I think, well, I'm trying to fight myself, dude. I'm trying to fight myself, because I feel like I be having higher standards than most of the people, you know. I'm like, be like, only 200 podcasts, like I should have like 500, but I'd be out here lazy.
But you know what? Okay, so I
be trying to like fight myself. So,
but it goes back to like, who are we really, right?
Yeah,
are like people just like, yo, Abe, come on, man, we need that next episode. Are you like having people bombard you with stuff? Like, people don't bombard me like, yo, when's the next album? When's the next this? When's the next that? But hold
with
on.
The podcast, we'll do that. Yeah.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying, if you don't hold yourself accountable, who's gonna hold you accountable? Unless you're on the level of like the Joe Budden podcast, where people are just like, shit. we need you every episode, every so and so day or whatever. You know,
plus
who
at this
is gonna
point,
hold you accountable if it's
that's
not
his
yourself?
main thing. He doesn't even want to rap no. He's retired and shit.
He's
like,
just he's just like, look, I went into the rapping shit for some money.
Yeah.
There's money in this podcasting shit.
Like
he laid his foundation already.
I haven't picked one thing, and I don't know if I ever will. Look, I got like a Craw documentary I didn't even know I was doing until like this week.
Yo,
and I'm happy I'm doing it.
Shout
it's
out
really
to
cool,
Craw, man.
And it's really cool.
I just saw some clips. That thing is beautiful.
You know,
man.
I just started making music again, and I like the, like, I feel like for me, I need to do things that I suck at, and I feel like, she might have triggered me making music, but I think the challenge of me like being a vocalist now, because that's like that makes music interesting to me, because I'll make a beat and they're cool, but like they're also simpler than ever before. They all like 4-bar loops, because it's like I'm less trying to even make anything intricate as much as I'm trying to have canvases so I can now be a vocalist on, because I'm like, I just want to like do that, because that part is hard. I suck on it, so that part's still interesting to me. Beats, you know, not to say I made Timberland, but it's like I got to a level where like they sound like beats. They sound like
they're cohesive.
Whether you like them or not, they do sound like beats. You know,
you can say, you know what, this is a hip hop beat for sure.
Yeah. Or the A part, because I got some stuff. But anyway, but that part interests me, like the vocals part. So it's like that's the challenge. But at the same time, if I picked one thing,
you have to be passionate
about. If I picked one thing, though, like I feel like I'd be really great at it. Like, so if I was putting podcasts only, I feel like I'd be like knocking them up.
Solid.
But I kind of want to have, but you know, I don't want to give up nothing yet, you know, and that's why I'm afraid to let the video games back or something, because that's just more time. But at the same time, I also feel like if we have our focus right, then we do have kind of time for everything in some way, you know.
Absolutely.
In some way.
Absolutely.
Really? My bad.
Well, you know what, man? It just goes back to the main thing, passion. We're talking about passion, man. Let me talk to you about passion.
And I still want to hear the hip hop origins, but go on.
Okay,
passion.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you a hip hop story about passion.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So when I first came up, or not right when I first came up, but when I really started taking it serious, I was in a group called the I-35 Connect. It was me and the homie Omar C. Shout out to O. That's my man right there. I honestly would not be where I'm at today if it had not been for his guidance, for all the stuff that we created and all the experiences we had together. Because that was the first time I really started like going to other cities to perform shows and like getting paid for shows and like getting into like legit production and like sampling and really making music, making hip hop music with a fellow hip hop head who was like, let's go to the record store and find breaks and find DITC. Digging in the crates, baby. That was it. It was a beautiful experience. I appreciate all the time that I had with that dude. It came to an end. It's all good. He's still doing his thing. I'm still doing my thing.
Nothing lasts forever, man. It's so hard for me to accept, you know. But
you know what? It was very difficult for me to accept, only because I'm so passionate. So check this out.
Yeah.
We were in Laredo, Texas. We had he and I are both from Laredo. We had a show there this one time. It was this little bar. I didn't have to go as hard as I did that night.
Yeah.
Okay? Passion. It just goes back to passion. So we're doing the show to an audience of about 20 to 25 people in this. It's kind of like it's a bar. It's one of those bars that's like this. It's like one long rectangle, right? You got your seats. You got a little bit of an area with the pool table, little areas on the side to kind of chill out. My homies were there. We were hanging out, doing our thing. So we did probably about 8 songs. Song number 6, we did a song that was just high energy. And I'm flailing my arms around and I'm just doing this and I'm doing that. And the next thing I know, I go like this and my shoulder dislocates. Completely pops out. Yeah. Not the first time, by the way. I have an issue with my shoulder. Pops out. I go down to the ground. I'm on one knee.
Yeah.
And I'm holding my shoulder like this. And I'm freaking out. I had did my verse already for that song. My homie was doing his verse. He's doing his thing and he's just like, he's kind of like looking at me and he's rapping. He's looking at me. He's just, and it was like 32 bars. So it took a little while, you know? And like, he's looking down at me and I'm just kind of like, and then like the song finishes and my DJ just kind of like cuts it. And then he's just like, yo, what's good, man? You good. And like, I had my mic in my hand and I was propping my arm up with my knee because I was on one knee. And I grabbed the mic and I go, I just dislocated my shoulder. And the homie goes, yo, we're done, man. We got to get out of here, man. We're going to get this dude to the hospital. And I got back on the mic and I said, no, we have 2 more songs. I stayed there the whole time on one knee with my arm propped like this. I finished the show and I got my shoulder popped back in on stage.
Basketball style, you gotta shoot the free throws before you can leave. You know,
it's like Jordan in the finals with the fever, man. You gotta passion, man. Basketball, it goes back to you were just saying basketball. It's you can be passionate about anything. I still am, but I remember that day. I don't know if it was my ego. I didn't want my reputation to get hurt. Maybe I'm just super passionate, and I felt like I could not leave without finishing that show. And I couldn't leave just crying about it. Dude, you know how you get stronger? You get some pain in you, man. I am full of pain. That's why I'm able to laugh and just like say like, it's not that serious. Because it could always be worse.
You can put everything in perspective then too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only time when you hear me mention like Phoenix and stuff like that's the only reason I entertain it. Because I just know like, I ain't gonna be as comfortable living out there as
no, it's not.
Like,
I mean,
well, just
Austin is kind of a big move for you too, because Austin ain't easy. I remember this one time I was walking in Austin. I had to show Los Nahuatlatos, and I was walking back to my car, and I kind of had to pass through this really sketchy area, and it was full of all these homeless
7th
dudes.
Street and
I think it was 7th actually,
because it was.
It was for some festival during the day, so it was right around that area.
Let's go.
And I'm walking down the street, man. I shit you not. This homeless dude is like, yo, do you have a spare $20 you can spare?
Damn, a spare $20.
I'm like, man, Austin is like
high class.
It's the New York of Texas, man. It's the LA of Texas, man.
It's a cyclone, and that like I don't know how or why that exists in Texas. That city, like, and the irony of it being the capital, no less. You know, yeah, I don't know. It's very weird because if you go to the other places, it ain't like that.
I mean, I feel like it on the contrary, I think it speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And how they're not prioritizing certain crises going on throughout the city. It's like, man, homelessness it should not be here. I mean, it shouldn't be anywhere.
Well, I just meant the vibe of the city is different than the rest of Texas in general. That's what I guess I was more commenting on.
I mean, sure, but you know what? Take it from somebody who's coming from Laredo, Texas.
Yeah.
We're just 150 miles away from San Antonio, right? But it's a whole nother world there, man.
Yeah,
and it's like, you know, no disrespect to Laredo, man. I had some very formative years there. But there's just nothing for me there. There's nothing for a lot of people. A lot of the people that I know, I'll tell you like this. I have about 4 good friends still in Laredo. And I still have a bunch of friends from Laredo that are not in Laredo. They're all in San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Houston, wherever. Just spread out, not Laredo. The ones that did stay in Laredo, they're doing great. They have good jobs. They have their homes. They have their vehicles. They have their families. They're cemented, and that's okay, you know, because Laredo is a developing society. It's a developing city, especially being so close to the border. You know, I hate to say it, you got drugs coming in. That creates wealth. And there's some people that are like, you know what? I have all this money. I'm going to donate to my city because I'm living here. Whether I like it or not, I have to be here because it's a gateway between 2 countries. So they invest, and now Laredo is looking beautiful, and there's all these great things. And it's not just, you know, people from the underworld that are everybody's kind of pitching in and everybody's kind of starting to
I'll be
change
honest,
their
I feel
mentality.
like as I learn more about the history of America, I feel like everything was created from the underworld.
I mean, when you look at
it ain't legit till it's legit.
when you look at the world's billionaires,
Yeah.
they actually do more for the people than our governments do. I mean, as much as we say, oh, they're like this and they're just a bunch of fat cats getting rich and, doing their cocaine or whatever. Like, sometimes they fix problems like Elon Musk. He's like genuinely striving for like the betterment of humanity. Whether he makes a shitty truck or not.
Yeah.
He's still doing good things for the community.
I mean, Bill Gates is similar too.
Bill Gates.
I can't watch it because I kind of saw what they were doing, so it's just boring for me. But there's a 3-part Bill Gates documentary on Netflix.
Oh, really?
And he cheats it by inserting a message in there. So like the documentary.
Wait, what's the message?
No, it's less like
what's
there's
the
a
agenda?
Well, the agenda is like so, right? It's all the stories are tied. This is Bill Gates, so you can get who is Bill Gates, right? But it's interspersed with these are the causes he's working on. So like building, I'm assuming it's someplace in Africa, I can't remember, but like how to get like sewage and toilet system there at cheap economical. These are not bad causes at all.
No,
they're all
no,
good. But I'm
all
just
for
saying,
sanitation.
me like especially me, and I can be too much sometimes interested in other people's stories. I was like, man, I gotta go through like this to kind of get the information I want versus I just kind of want the Bill Gates part, but that's also the art of creating and storytelling too, that they chose to do that narrative. Me, I listen to too many writers now, so I noticed that real quick. In the first 5 minutes, I was like, I think I know what they're doing here. I think I know that can make it.
I'm on to you.
Yeah, that can make it tough for me to enjoy like movies too as a consumer. Because now as I like, like it's not the same at all. But writing rhymes and writing them as often as you do, and again, I listen to some writers, and they've kind of also helped me just see writing in a different light and be open my eyes to the idea of maybe writing like TV shows and stuff. And I got to count number 3, 4, whatever count it is. I got to transcribe somebody's story like through rhymes too. And as I see like that shit, like it was done with a purpose of helping someone, but I also like developed a skill set doing all that. And yeah, so now I can just recognize things. And so I'll be like watching shows and I'm like, oh, they're doing A to get B to do C. And sometimes that depending on how good the show is, that may or may not take me out of it, like the fun of it. Yeah. Because sometimes I'll just see things as a scientist now instead of like as a passive consumer. This is why I can be like, to go all the way back to something like creation versus consumption, a lot of the times it's hard for me to consume things unless I partake in the activity. That's why I don't watch basketball anymore, because I don't play it. So now I learn stuff that I can't do nothing with. I barely follow fighting games right now, but it's hard for me to follow it for real because I don't play it. So now I get this data and I can't send it nowhere. So
you're not able to assimilate what it really.
It's just kind of here, but I don't know what to do with it. So it's almost I'd rather just not be there. I'd rather just not, because I need to like take it in and then spit my own version of it out. So. But it's funny though, because I guess I still make music, but I also don't really like consuming, and that might be going back to the judgment. I just don't necessarily like what a lot of things people are doing. That's not to say it's right or wrong or good or bad, because there is none of that in art, for the most part. But I'd rather just like do my own thing, and then whatever happens, and.
That might be the best way for you to be able to truly create something that's absolutely yours. Yeah. Because if you get a lot of outside influences, it might affect what you're trying to do. It does,
because that's why my beats sound a certain way. I mean, I don't mind it, but like I don't make any type of EDM stuff. But like a lot of my I would probably say 90% of my production stuff that I like to listen to, they're all from Europe somewhere, which has always been heavily electronic. But then I grew up in hip hop, so I just ended up making like hip hop versions of that instead of like doing that. So it's almost like this hybrid, which is kind of cool because it's like me mixed with what I grew up into. But I definitely don't want to hear anyone else's version of that shit.
Let's talk about hip hop, man.
Do it. What was your origin story you was gonna say? First album I heard was 36 Chambers. Funny enough, it was.
Really?
My brother came in the room, lights was off. And he just pressed play on the CD, and I heard that shit, and I was just there. I was fucking young. Of course, I'm just down for whatever. Plus, my brother's playing it. So I was like, down for whatever. Then he's super Wu-Tang fan, and he worked with Method Man in the kitchen, which if you saw the documentary, they actually go to that around the Liberty Island, you know? It wasn't like Method Man's best friend or nothing, but he just worked with him. Like,
hey, man, that's super dope. That's super duper dope.
One of the last
if you just stand next to the Wu-Tang dudes, you're done. You're up there, man. You're up there.
So
super dope.
Yeah, like he was a big Wu-Tang fan, probably because maybe he worked with him for that little bit of time. But man, yeah, and then I just get into other shit. Those first 6 albums, whew.
but man, you're from the Bronx, bro. Yeah. That's hip hop's genesis, man.
Like some shit I still haven't given the time because I end up taking my own. We all take our own paths. Like a Tribe, I respect Tribe and I like a lot of their shit.
But like you're big on like KRS, right?
Yeah,
I got that's South Bronx right there. Yeah. You know,
I didn't even know that. It was just I had no choice.
It was in your DNA. Yeah. Well, you know what, man? I was just having a conversation with my brother the other day. You know, I think that hip hop has always been a part of me, even when I rejected it. Here's why. Back in the day, I told you I was into the rock and roll, and I was like, nah, man, I only want the metal, and I want the guitars, and I want the bass, and I want the drums, right?
So that's your first music?
That's my first music, but check this out.
Yeah.
When I first started being a fanatic of music, when I was just like, I'm following music, I'm like all about albums, I'm all about going to music stores and like playing with instruments and like going to like Sam Goody and like checking out CDs and shit like that, right? When I really started that, it was like the Korn, Limp Bizkit, Kid Rock era.
I know what era.
Hey, they were doing new metal.
I still like some of that shit. But you know what?
Yeah, I still jam it every once in a while. But listen, what were they really doing? Rage Against the Machine. What were they doing? The hooks were all the verses.
Things were starting to blend.
And Zach De La Rocca was just rapping on it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Limp Bizkit.
I never realized that
he was
for years.
rapping.
Yeah.
Korn is like, you know, if you listen to like Freak on a Leash, and it's just like
beatbox.
all those all those drum breaks. He raps in between the verses and on the hooks. That's when they do like the hard vocals.
Yeah.
Dude, Kid Rock. Come on, dude. Kid Rock started off as a rapper.
He was a DJ too.
He was a DJ too. Yeah.
He was funny. He would be like James Blake. You know James Blake?
I don't know James Blake.
Well, James Blake is like a singer-songwriter, keyboarder. He's really awesome. But when if you follow him to the past, like I knew him from dubstep, you know. But there's always these people who I feel like they acquire this musical knowledge, and then they start making music, and I'm like, oh, you just a singer-songwriter, but you didn't learn guitar. You learned some other shit. So your shit sounds like some other shit. And there's always people that I'm into, and I hear what they make, and I'm like, oh, you got too smart, so that's why you don't have a guitar. You do it in this weird way, but you're just a singer-songwriter in disguise. Kid Rock is funny because it's like, yeah, he just learned like hip-hop, and everybody's like, he's doing album 1, and then again, it's the same thing. Like, what is this? Like I think like people who knew him from before is like, what do we do with this? Because that was my reaction to James Blake. I wasn't really a Kid Rock fan, like even DJ that time, but I was a James Blake fan, and so he was in like the early dubstep, like before Noise and Skrillex. Then he drops album 1, and we're all excited, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people when Kid Rock does album 1, it was like, what is it? Like, what is this? Like.
Yeah,
because no one kept knowing he was gonna keep going in that direction.
I mean, nobody could really tell.
Yeah.
Because you know, hip hop was still so. I don't want to say infantile. I want to say maybe it was in his adolescence at the time.
Yeah. It's coming into his own in the 90s. Yeah,
it was definitely like going through like its teenage years. And it was just like really rebellious. Yeah. Like right now, it's just like it doesn't even know what to do with itself at this point.
Hey, that's where I'm at in life.
Hey, man, we're growing up with hip hop.
Yeah,
you know, but you know, you take all that stuff into consideration, right? Incubus. Oh, come on, man. They were doing dude, they had a turntablist, you know? So did Limp Bizkit.
So did Slipknot.
So did Slipknot.
Yeah.
Another great example, dude. Dude, that dude was just emceeing like with like while he growled a little bit and he was just kind of and he was like rapping, dude. And I didn't realize this so much later. But after that, I realized, because you know, after the mainstream is cool, it turns whack.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you're
yeah.
like, oh, we're anti this now. Okay, so what's harder than this? And then you start like, okay, so what are the origins of rock and roll? Oh shit, Ozzy and fucking this and that. And you keep climbing and climbing and climbing. You learn more about music. And I would listen to it and be like, all right, this is dope. I like it. But I didn't get the same kind of like feeling with it where it was like bouncy. It was more like, and then I started getting into metal. And I was like, okay, metal, cool. I'm into it. It's a lot of energy, right? It's a lot of sound, and it's dense, right? So I was in high school. This is really where it started.
Yeah.
I was in high school, and there was this guy named Derek that I went to high school with in Laredo at Nixon High School. I was a skateboarder at the time, and so was he. And he had a super beautiful sister that we all wanted. But even if we didn't want his sister, Derek was still a super cool guy, right? So I remember Derek like used to show up to school, and he had his board with him, and he used to bust like the craziest tricks, and he was just a super cool guy. And I remember I always wanted to be cool with him. And, you know, I was a skater too. And one day he was skating, and I pulled up on my board, and I was like, yo, what's up, blah, blah, blah. Yo, yeah, man, I seen you around, blah, blah, blah. And we started just kind of skating, and we played skate. He whooped my ass. I got to like SKA with him. But, you know, we're just talking, blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of built that relationship with him. And like, the thing about him is like, he didn't dress like, in Laredo, we call them freaks. Those were the dudes that were on like the rock side. And then the chooks were all like the hip hoppers and the preppy guys, right? He dressed more like a preppy chook kind of guy, right? This is Laredo slang. And one day, and you know, we were talking about music one day, and I was just like, oh, what do you listen to? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I love that band. And it was stuff like Hawthorne Heights and like Silverstein and like Atreyu. And it's just like really emo, screamo kind of stuff. And, you know, it was around that time that it was really popular. So he was just like, oh, yeah, check it out. I got this great mix. And he lent me the CD, right? He lent me the CD. And it had Thursday, and it had Silverstein and Atreyu and, you know, a bunch of all these super corny bands that I don't really fuck with anymore. And then I just remember I just kept skipping, and it was the days of the Walkman, and we still had CD players, and we had them in. And I was walking around, and I'm jamming all these great songs that I've heard, but they're all in a mix in the CD, so it's like a playlist. And all of a sudden I just hear, there ain't no surrender, no surrender. My brother just ended to get witness, so can I get a witness? Can you fuck the bubble pass and to kick this? Gotta get my shit, then fuck you fucked up. But I'm talking about them things, thugs, mind high. First time I ever heard Bone Thugs. And I was like, what? I was like, what is this dude doing? How is he doing that? And he did all the triplets, and he's like, and I was like, yo, what the fuck is that? And I had a little bit of a drumming background already, and I loved percussion, and I was used to like the, and even just like beating on my fingers, just. And we used to make beats for each other, and we didn't even know, but we were freestyling, but we were dissing each other in rhyme, right? We've done this for centuries. It used to be called flighting, like back in like the 1500s, 1400s. They would get into these matches where they would fight each other poetically, right? Which is pretty much what rap is, right?
Yeah.
Like freestyle battles and stuff. So I heard the syncopation and this crazy, just rhythmic, percussive style. And I was like, what? And I didn't know who it was on that CD for a long time, till I started working at this restaurant when I was 16 years old called Piedras Negras. It's a Tex-Mex restaurant. It burnt down, but they opened up next door. They opened up a smaller location. And there was this guy there named Saul, and he was just like, and I showed him the CD. He was like, oh, yeah, it's Bone Thugs. Yeah, it is. The song's called No Surrender. And then from there, it just Bone Thugs, and then Biggie, and then this, and then KRS-One, and it just like opened up the world to like, but it started with Bone Thugs. Bone Thugs, where I was like, I fell in love with it. And I heard Creeping on a Come Up, East 1999. Yeah. I heard all the albums, and I was just like, this is insane. This is it. That's when I knew I had found my true favorite style of music. And I knew it was hip hop. And from there, it just branched off. And Bone Thugs worked with Biggie. Bone Thugs worked with Eazy-E, and they worked with Tupac. If you have those three branch off to a bunch of different subgenres and a bunch of different artists. So I just consume. I studied. And then YouTube came into play. I remember I always liked performing and doing theater stuff. I put up this video where I'm reciting the lyrics to Thuggish Ruggish Bone, and I'm doing Busy's verse. How does it go again? No one to care about him. Man, I can't believe I can't remember his verse. I used to know it like by heart.
So much, man. Our lives, we input so much now.
No one in the cupboard to hit me and lick up, find me to stick up, pick it, break up, running and I'm about slipping. That's why I'm a tripping, bloody victim, getting when the time calls, dog. No, that's Lazy's verse. Anyway, I put up a video of me doing Busy Bones' verse on the internet. Dude, traction. Crazy traction. Because I put the title as Thuggish, Ruggish, Busy. And I guess people were like, it was the young time in the internet, so people were probably looking for Busy Bone stuff. And they saw the thumbnail and they were like, oh, who's this little white kid, no beard, shape up, little fuzzy jacket, right? They were like, yo, who is this kid? And they probably clicked on it and they shat all over it.
Is the video still out there?
Oh yeah, dude, it's at about 20,000 views.
You should link it to
out
me.
There. Oh yeah. Insert clip.
Hey, what are you doing?
Nothing, I'm just writing my totally original rap, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Want to go big, so.
You wanna hear it?
Yeah.
You wanna hear it?
Gotta give it on up to the Glock. Pop, pop, better drop in the buckshot. Blow, the one in me never no host, so no creeping up out of the zip block. So sin, sip gin, a little more hard run up, nothing been flipped in, then slipped in, then clipped in. Mistaking the bloody victim, maybe you're testing us to the chest and put him to arresting. But I won't test for the hole up in the investing. Gotta get through my soul, but it won't budge. But drug me victim, the bloody me running my mental. The stuck in me, keeping it simple, the running me running with that stuff to the temper. Fuck when you duck to the thuggish, ruggish G, St. Clair pays and appeal to the G's and a butt to all of my enemies.
Yeah. I should actually do that. I'll actually do it.
I sent it to you.
I'm not. I might be a lazy editor, but that I can do. That's easy.
Yeah. No, so I did this video and I got crazy views. Crazy views. And people obviously left comments and it was like, fucking white cracker piece of shit. You fucking suck, you white bitch. I fucking hate your teeth. Fuck your shape up.
Yeah.
Fuck this and fuck that. And I remember one comment that just completely stuck out to me was this guy was like, yeah, you're pretty good at imitation, but why don't you write your own stuff? And I was like, why don't I write my own stuff? And I kind of lingered on the idea for a while. Never really committed to it. I met this guy in high school named Robert Machado, went by Rob Mack. He was from Dykeman. And he came with all his New York flair and all his New York persona. So sometimes people talk to me, he's like, man, why you got such an East Coast attitude? You know what, man?
Yeah,
that dude just stuck it onto me, man. It's so contagious. People are always like, man, you
I
gotta
said
get
that about
out.
your music, I think, when I first met you.
You did. You told me you had a very East Coast style.
Yeah.
You know, because Rob, one of the first things he ever put me onto was like Big L. Then one of the first songs he ever showed me was Ebonics by Big L. And I was just blown the fuck away. And he showed me like the 98 freestyle and like, and he showed me like the lifestyles of the poor and dangerous. Man, I was blown away. And I was like, this is that thing that people keep talking about. This is like that real hip hop thing.
Yeah.
I keep hearing so much about. This is it. And without anybody telling me like how big of an influence Big L was, I figured that out from watching him. I was like, this guy right here is like one of the apexes of hip hop, of real hip hop. I'm not talking about mainstream Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z, Nas shit. Because you know what? Everybody was influenced by Big L. And I'm so glad. It's kind of like growing up poor. If I grew up listening to nothing but the mainstream, I would have never known about this super raw, organic hip hop that existed. If I only followed the charts and I only followed what was hot and popping, you know. And Rob introduced me to that world, and you know, I never looked back, man. It's been a fucking beautiful, amazing journey, and I'm glad I started with the basics. Like if I would have started being a fan of hip hop in the South, from the South, which I love Southern hip hop, which is where hip hop lives now.
Yeah.
In the South, it wouldn't have been the same. I don't think I would have been as lyrical as I am now.
That'd be something, but you might be successful. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're absolutely right. You know what? You're absolutely right. But you know what?
Yeah.
I also refuse to compromise my art.
Yeah, no.
And I refuse to.
Says the guy doing hours long podcasts.
Has it been an hour?
We had an hour 15 now.
What?
Yeah, man. When it's good, it's good. But I'm just saying, even though long form content does have its fan base now, I think more often than not, most people would be like, if your goal is to quote unquote make it, you shouldn't be doing long. And so I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It attributes to short attention spans.
I want to do what I want versus if I wanted to make it, I'd stop making content in general and maybe just do Instagram shit, own it,
quick edits.
Yeah, doing shit.
Nah, dude, you do you, man.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the only way I can, dude. Because otherwise, I just don't even like doing it. If I could do not me a little bit better, then I'd probably be a successful freelancer. Because then I would be doing a bunch of stuff for other people. Yeah. Instead of stuff I like, the craw thing's cool, but I also like craw and I also like that. But, I got an engineering promo video I have to do. Still haven't done it. You know why? Because it's an engineering promo video. I don't want to do it. It gives me money, but I don't want, other than that, I don't want to do it, so I mean,
well, think about the most popular forms of entertainment. Yeah. They've all been met with resistance at their inception. Hip hop is a perfect example. Yeah. They didn't want to let hip hop into the building, man.
Yeah, man.
Now it's now the Grammys have a whole rap category, right? Yep. And not only do they have a rap category, they have good people nominated. They have the J. Cole's, they have your Dreamvilles, they have real good, entertaining rappers / MCs on the ballot this year. And it's a refreshing change because now hip hop is in the building. Hip hop is the new rock and roll. Whether people like it or not, it's the new rock and roll, man. And it's not going away. It's pop. It's pop culture, man. It's here, at least for now, it's here to stay, man.
Yeah.
It's
been going, for now, it's probably the number one music in the world.
We're going 40, 50 years strong, man.
Yeah.
Since its inception. And I feel like it's just going to take off from here. And there's this clip of this episode of South Park where everybody's in the future and everybody looks the same, everybody's bald, everybody kind of wears the same little clothes, and they're still, and they drive by in their little cars and they're still blasting that little 808 trap beat with the hi-hats and everything, and I'm that's where we're going. I see, and they did that before the trap movement. It's just crazy. They were just it's just gonna be a bunch of 808s and noise. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Now, as an MC, one of your most important tasks is beat selection. Besides, your obvious, you're following your gimmick or whatever it is that you do that sets you apart from people, that is going to attract people. The next important thing is beat selection. Because you can talk about, killing your grandmother. If it sounds hot, people are going to jam it. And we've seen this time and time again, dude. I mean, come on. It's out there. They've done songs about the most ridiculous things.
I mean, a lot of the ATL classics are just dumb things, the subject matter. I always be thinking the stereotype mumble rapper, day, not their real day, but the day in their song. I wake up,
get high.
Yeah, the order might be different depending on which rapper it is. But yeah, it's it usually involves some type of drug use. Usually ones that kill you too. Not even
not even the fun ones. Not even the fun ones.
Yeah, drug use, the fucking of random bitches. But that's always been a hip hop thing.
Yeah.
And then, somebody might die. And unlike the old hip-hop, there was no beef. Just somebody just had to die on the way to the strip club. Somebody just clap. I'm just fucking bored.
On the way to the club, had to take out a few enemies.
Yeah. They aren't even enemies, though. It's just might got fucked up for some reason. It's
but even at that, early hip-hop was it did reflect a lot of its realities.
Yeah.
But it was also shock value. It was punk rock. It was rock and roll. It was.
I just feel right now there's no shock value, not from hip hop, but at least from a lot of us, because we just been so desensitized from all media.
This is true. This is true. I remember when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
My best friend in Laredo, which is one of the 4, still love this guy to death. We've known each other since we were children. His stepdad showed us Faces of Death for the first time when we were 10 years old. You haven't seen that?
I think I'm good. I don't think I need to see it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the thing about that is I saw it. Crazy thing is, like, he sat us down, we watched the video, like the video like turns off and we're like traumatized, and like he just turns around and he's just like, I made burgers for everyone. And we just saw like all this human mutilation and meat everywhere, and I'm just like staring at this burger like, what the hell? You know? But the desensitization starts at that level, right? You see these images, you see these just really horrific things, and then after a while you're just like, so whatever.
I say this because we're thinking that I don't know if desensitization is the word, but I think one of the few things that I guess can have an effect that I don't watch is Black Mirror. I've seen a few. Yeah. But I feel like it's too real.
I fuck with Black Mirror.
I feel like it's too real.
Yeah.
And obviously in like a negative.
Well, we're heading there.
Yeah. So it's like I see that shit and I'm like, dude, like I live it, or I see that around, like I don't want to watch it and have it remind me. you know, like so.
Well, you know what? It also comes.
I'm not saying
down
it's bad.
To,
I'm saying I don't want to see it. You know.
But you know what? It also comes back to facing it eye to eye. And now, like I told you, you know, I'm desensitized, so things like that don't necessarily scare me or throw me into a panic. Same things goes back to limited resources or growing up with a lot of pain. Now it's just like, oh, I don't have this. All right. I have this pain. I'll deal with it. I know how to deal with it. You know? So in a sense, I've kind of made my mental stronger, but I've also I've made myself unable to be as empathetic as I would maybe like to. You know, I've worked around death. I worked in the hospice field for 5 years. So like I saw death every single day. I've held dead people. I've held dead people in my arms as they're dying, like from the shower chair to like the wheelchair. I've seen people like slumped over. Like and I've also seen firsthand gore, right? Nothing cool about it. Nothing necessarily that it's like, oh, this is bragging rights, right? But it has made me different. It's made me stronger. It's made me just like, you know, if a situation unfolds, I can handle it a little bit better. That's all that means. I can be like, okay, this happens. What's the next step? Remain calm. After everything is done, then you go home and you reflect. As opposed to like, oh my God, there's a dead person on the ground. Oh, what do I do? And then you just freak out, and then you don't know how to handle the situation, and panic doesn't induce anything that's gonna be productive. So you handle the situation, go home and reflect, meditate, process, figure it out, you know? But it's only through being exposed to these things so young. Like, I have an 11-year-old niece, and sometimes she asks me like, hey, is it true that there's this man in the sky that watches you all the time, and if you're bad, he'll send you to the devil? And it's like, you know, the first time she asked me, I said, you know, that's up to your mother to kind of, you know, when you turn 18, we can have that talk, and we can have it at length. And we can talk about, you can ask me any question you want, and I'll tell you the truth. And or not the truth, but like, I'll tell you what I think. You know, I'll tell you my perspective. But it's getting to the point where it's just like, if I keep lying to this little girl, she's going to grow up in a fairy tale world. And I grew up in the real world. And that's why I'm able to succeed. And that's why I'm able to, you know, I have this house. I have a vehicle that's reliable. I'm able to fend for myself. I don't have to call my mom and be like, hey, you know what, can you know, I don't have to do that, because I grew up a little bit differently, and I grew up in a world where if I didn't help get the things that I wanted, it was not going to happen. You know, thankfully people do grow up with, and there's nothing wrong with it. people do grow up with great parents and bountiful resources. That's beautiful. That's great. You know, if you're able to grow up like that, man, awesome, dude. You're going to have some great opportunities. But there's going to be certain situations in life you won't be able to handle. Some of the people that I know with the highest amount of anxiety all grew up in an affluent upbringing. They never had to worry about money. They never had to worry about real things like, how am I going to eat tomorrow? Is my mom losing her mind right now because there's like an eviction threat, or there's like this, or, you know, we can get kicked out of this country just for the sake of rules. You know, those were my anxieties. And some people grew up with the anxiety of like, oh, you know, what if people think that like, you know, the way I'm dressed is like stupid, or like, what if people think that, you know, because I haven't played this video game, I'm not going to be cool, you know? And some people grow up with those kinds of anxieties. And I'm just like, man, I'm kind of jealous. Yeah. Because we're dealing with some real life shit over here.
But you can only see that through perspective, though.
But it's perspective, man. That's it. Life is all about perspective and your lens, your specific lens, and where you're standing on your corner of the earth. And that's what's going to define, you know, the rest of your life and what you're going to do with your time on this planet, you know? And it starts at your inception, how you grow up. So I'm thankful for all the struggles and all the pain and everything that comes along with this beautiful tragedy of a life, you know? It's oxymoronic.
I'm working on that reframing.
Hey, man. You're never too old to learn, man. That's the beauty about being a human, is that you have a consciousness and you're able to change it and you're able to adjust it according to your surroundings. And, you know, people that say, oh, well, that's just how I am. No, dude, you're an asshole. You can change who you are, you know? It is harder to change the mind of an adult rather than to mold the mind of a child. This is true, but we're still human. We still have intelligence. We can still see facts and realize that, you know, okay, this is detrimental towards my life. Stop doing it. You know, we have the internet. We have no excuse. If you want information, it's there. Yeah. You know,
the power is yours.
Power is yours.
Yeah. I have the power. Pick whichever one you want. Captain Planet or the
Captain
He-Man
Planet,
dude,
man. On that note, save the motherfucking planet, yo. My baby niece was just born 3 months ago, man, and I get scared sometimes, man, because we're fucking this motherfucker up, man.
I feel like that's always the constant narrative too.
I can just picture her like in 30, 40 years, just like riding a wave that's on fire. You know?
I don't know, that looks like pretty cool actually. It might not be healthy, but
maybe not the right analogy.
It's an album cover.
Maybe maybe no water, because we evaporated it all on meaningless things.
Maybe, man. Maybe.
Maybe not.
We'll see. We'll see, man. It's crazy. So I got like a lot of this been like life discussion anyway, but I got like these life questions.
Okay.
If you want to try them out, and then we'll probably still tangent anyway, because why not?
I'm open, brother. Let's hit it.
All right. Who's your best friend? Who's your best friend?
Who is my best friend?
Yeah, I have the rest right in here. Hold on.
My best friend is a cat named Edvard from Laredo, Texas.
Oh, really? Is it really?
Truthfully, we don't spend a whole lot of time together. It's actually, you know, I only see him maybe once or twice a year. But I say that he's my best friend because, you know, I've also reevaluated what it takes to be my best friend or what my criteria is. And this cat is just, you know, he's real quiet. He's one of those strong, silent types. But when he does talk, it's kind of like Silent Bob. Like, he really has something to say. Yeah. You know? But, you know, I spent many years with him just kind of being next to me. And I'm always just like this really vocal, just blah, and just kind of like always talking and being like that. And he was always just like this. So he's like the yin to my yang. And like, he may not feel like I'm his best friend, and that's okay. I feel like he's my best friend because I went through a lot of formative things with him when I was a kid. That's really when you really develop your core values and stuff like that. And like, I just really dig his energy, man. It's just a really beautiful energy. And anytime I get to see him, it's all love. And, you know, we've gone to the point where we're older and, you know, he's tripping out because my brother's got daughters and like, you know, things are changing and we're all getting older and it's stayed a beautiful relationship. I haven't had a friend as long as I've known this dude, you know, since I came from Mexico. And actually we have the same story. Like we both grew up without fathers. You know, we were both born in the same city in Mexico. And it was like the same thing. Like his mom was trying to get him over to become an American citizen and it just didn't work out, you know? And both of our mothers married American citizens and we both became American citizens because of that marriage. So we have like tons of similarities between us, you know? So I would say Edvard, man. Edvard is definitely my best friend. I love that dude. The day that he's no longer around, man, it's gonna be a very tough day for me. For sure. But he's doing good. He doesn't do drugs, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, nothing. He'll be good. He's gonna be like one of those dudes like 100 years old, just God damn it, still alive.
All right.
Son of a bitch.
Let me see. Before you get the next life one. So you got into that whole hip hop like thing, you know, and he's saying Big L on the branches and stuff.
Sure.
So what happens next, man? Like in terms of like, I guess how do we get to when I finally meet you and it's like Jesus Barz.
Jesus Barz. Fat Jesus. Okay, so oh man, that's gonna lead into something really cool I have to show you today because this has to do with you.
Cool.
Okay, so I was in high school. I met that dude Rob Mack from New York. Ill freestyler. One of the best freestylers I've ever met. The dude looks like Joel Santana. Bandanas, tall tees, long pants, Timberlands. All day. This dude looks like Joel's, right? Dipset all day. So I start hanging out with this dude, and he's one of the dudes that like meets me. And besides his like brash, like real New York attitude, and you know the attitude.
Yeah.
Besides all that, the guy is just, he's really proper to me. And he like respects me. And I appreciate that. And I'm drawn to it also because he's such a cool cat. And like at the time he had like some real bomb weed and we would smoke out and like he would take it to school. And like we were, you know, that's what we did when we were in high school. And I remember he'd always be freestyling and I would just get livid because I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world to watch people actually freestyle. And I just remember thinking I wanted to participate and I was like, well, I can't freestyle. I can't do that. There's no way. I'm not doing that. And then I started, you know, kind of like
doing the beat
on the tables. I always did that. I always had like the drum in me. So I was always, you know, banging on stuff on the tables. And my teachers would always tell me all the time, man, stop doing that. You're banging on the tables and you're doing it. Stop, you know? So I eventually learned how to beatbox, right? And I wanted to participate. And like, you know, so you start freestyling and you just start going off, man, it's Rob Mack, da-da-da, ba-ba-da. And then I just started playing around with it and it was just like, and you know, it's like, yo man, hit me with something else. And then they started calling me beatbox, right? So all of a sudden I was beatbox. And that was my introduction to hip hop. And I was like, oh man, now I'm official because this dude from New York, he's rapping. I'm beatboxing for him. We would do it at school. We would go out to parties. We'd be smoking blunts. We'd be drinking, and we'd be hanging out with girls. And then when it would you know, get to be that time, boom, here we are. He's freestyling. I'm beatboxing for him. So I was like blue in the face, dude. Just like couldn't breathe. I was like, you know, it's just like, you know, like my mouth is hurting from like beatboxing and stuff. And then I always noticed he got all the love. Afterwards, it was like people be like, oh, yeah, you did your thing. Yo, man, when you said that thing, the blah, 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 da, 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 da. And I was just like, yo, that is dope right there. And then I remember I would talk to Rob and be like, man, I wish I could do what you. He's like, man, you can. Why can't you do it? Do it. He's like, here, I'll write your first rhyme for you. And he said, yo, it's A-R-T, man. You know who would be. The first letter in the alphabet is started with me. And he like gave it to me. He was just like, there's your first bar. Go write some shit. And he's like, yo, it's A-R-T, man. You know who would be. The first letter in the alphabet is started with me. sick with the wordplay. You would think I'm playing Scrabble. I spit that hot shit. All you other suckers babble. And I was like, oh, it's on. And then I just kept writing and writing and writing. And I had like this little like maybe 30 bar verse. And we would go to parties, and then instrumentals started getting popping. So they would just throw in an instrumental CD. So my shit became obsolete. I couldn't beatbox anymore. So now I had to freestyle, or I had to do a written, or I had to do something to be able to be in the circle, right? Yeah. I'll do my little verse, and people freak out. They're like, "Who is this fucking white boy right here who fucking got these bars?" And he sounds like he's from the fucking East Coast, right? Because I was hanging out with Rob. He didn't write any of my rhymes besides that one bar. The rest of it, I wrote my shit, but I based it off of the energy that I got from him, and I based it off of the knowledge that I got from him about East Coast artists. So, fast forward, me and Rob have a falling out. We don't kick it no more. He moves back to New York. I heard he came back to Texas. But we're just not cool. But in that time, I'm just like super engulfed in hip hop, and I start going to hip hop shows, and I start going to like Bone Thug shows, and I start seeing all this shit. And I'm just like, man, I want to be a part of this. And one of these cats that I used to know from Laredo, his name is Ismael. He came up to San Antonio to move here, and he was like, hey man, you remember Miggs? He was a friend of ours. His name's Miguel. Miggs started rapping. He showed me this thing, and I was like, oh man, I started rapping. I have a thing, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, look, I got this little PlayStation microphone, and I got this little thing, and that's how we're going to record. Great. Love it. Let's do it. Recorded this verse, did it, dropped it, put it up on SoundCloud. Yeah. We felt official, right? And then it was just like, okay, we did the thing. Let's do more. Let's do more. Let's do more. And then it got to the point where I helped this dude build the studio. I'm talking about walls. I'm talking about plexiglass, soundproofing, everything. We did our thing. We did an album. It was dope. I really liked it. I worked with this other guy named Albert. He and we were the MCs, and the other guy Ismael, he did all the production stuff. So we do that, and on the release, I remember I was stressing out, and I was we were printing copies and burning CDs and doing this, and I didn't know anything, and we had to go to a million different places. So we did it, we got it done, and we had a little release party at a friend's house. And I just remember those two guys, they didn't really put forth the effort. It was lack of passion, dude, big time. And I was I felt so discouraged, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this no more with you guys. And it was a Tasenda or matters passed over in silence. We just kind of stopped fucking with each other. No beef. I still talk to them every once in a while. There's no beef with them. While my time was ending with them, I hit up this other guy named Oscar. And I went to high school with him in Laredo too. And he had sent me some stuff. He's like, hey man, I wrote this beat. I know you're rapping. Check it out. Checked it out. I was like, yo, man, this shit is fire. He's like, I'm going to send you something else. He sent me the same beat with vocals that he put. Now, this dude is a big, bare metalhead dude. Long hair, just metal, black metal. He was rapping on it. I was like, yo. I was like, he was getting the same reaction that I was getting for rapping because I'm so light-skinned and I just look so unconventional, right? I was like, we might be onto something. So, long story short, through a bunch of series of us getting together, he was living in Austin at the time. He was coming down. We move in together here in San Antonio, and we start working hard on music. We cut maybe 3 mixtapes. And they were flames, dude. And we got a little following around it. And people were fucking with it. But, the dude, he had other plans. He wanted to do his own thing. He's still working with metal. He's in another metal band. I forget the name of the band. If not, I shut them out. But he's doing his thing, and he does a lot of video work and stuff like that. He just,
it's hard doing it all, man.
I know. he just wasn't really that interested in doing what we were doing. So, I've always been hungry. I've always been the type to just really just want to get out and do my thing. And then I met somebody who changed my life forever, and that was Joaquin Muerte. And he met me because he had heard some stuff that I had done. A friend of mine had showed him some stuff that I did, and he was like, yo, man, you're solid. You got some cool stuff. And then I started going around to the Nahuatlatos shows, And, I would go to their shows and I would dance and I'd be so energetic and I would just kind of get the party going. Next thing you knew, I joined Los Nahuatlatos. And then I started rapping with Los Nahuatlatos. They would let me rap. And then it just started like a snowball effect. And I started meeting all these great people. And one of those people was you. So after I met you, things like I had another resource, right? So that's what brought us here today. And another thing I wanted to mention that happened because of you. Today, I had the pleasure of going to the post office. I want you to check this out right here. Check that out. I just sent out my first overseas package with my album to someone in Malaysia named Siahir Southpaw. And he would have never known anything about me if it wasn't for you.
Oh shit!
Yo, shout out to Siahir, man. That guy has like given me so much energy, man.
That's
He's
badass.
like, man, you're so cool. I love your rapping. I love this. And when the Radio Tierra album came out, he said, I want a copy.
Yeah.
I want a copy. Can you send me one? How can I say no?
Yeah.
I went to the post office today. I got a bunch of little stuff that I had because he's super big into the American culture.
Yeah. He wants to come one day.
He wants to come. I got a bunch of little things that
as soon as I put this up, I'm gonna link this shit to him.
Yeah. Yo, as soon as
this is the real power of YouTube. Obviously, he finds me out on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I don't even really do hashtags no more because I'm all like lazy and depressed now. But anyway,
dude, no.
But that's the real power of
Don't
like all
knock
this.
the power of it, man.
Yeah.
That's halfway across the world.
Yeah.
And the dude is like, yo, you're official. And he would have never known unless he saw those clips that you got of me when I was in that group Estos Vatos.
You made me feel guilty for not posting more clips.
Oh man.
Clips is not the passion though. Like man, like I really like doing this stuff.
Long form content.
But man, making clips of but even cutting this up like sucks. Mm-hmm. I just kind of want to move on to the next one.
It's like the what'd you call it? The crop shot?
Yeah. That semi sucks. That's semi
crop.
Boom.
Crop.
But that's fucking badass, dude.
Crop.
The universe that you would have nailed it today. Yeah, that's all good. Work out.
He's like, I'm not doing it.
But that's the universe that you would have to you would mail that today. That's insane, dude.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, man.
Halfway across the world.
It's
on its way. Yo, I had to fill out customs paperwork.
I talked to some dude.
I've never done anything like that
and
before.
I want to say he's American, but for some reason I don't think he can come out here or something. Or maybe no, not him. There's another dude.
Oh,
and he's in, damn it, not Serbia, but someplace close to Serbia. And he makes it seem he thought like, cause I guess it doesn't happen to me too much anymore, but at one point it did. It happens to all of us. You see Instagram, so you see everybody living the good life. Damn, get fucked. Do you have a pet?
Yeah.
Do you have a pet or not?
I think we're good.
Yeah. So we back. Candle exploded, dude.
Candle exploded.
That's.
I think we threw off the whole vibrations in this whole.
In
the vicinity.
We were summoning the power of Malaysia, and that's what happened. Like that's what we were just talking about.
Was that you, Sire? Was that you?
You gotta try to tour out there one day, dude.
Dude, I would love to. I'll go anywhere, anybody. You know what? I rarely say no to anything. I try to use better judgment and I try to take calculated risks. But man, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, man.
You have to follow every opportunity, man. And this guy says send me a CD. I went today. You know what? It cost me way more to ship it than it did what I'm getting for it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm investing in something completely different than money. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see where this goes. And I was actually looking at the Spotify for artists page, like to check on my screen, on my streams and all that for the Radio Tierra album. And like we're getting, all over the country, man. Not just Texas. There's several states that are listening to it. Austria, Mexico.
That's why I always tell people put it out there because you never know, dude.
Oh, you never know. You never know who's fucking with it, man.
I loop my shit, so no one's fucking with my shit. But every now and then, like, there's some people in like a European country or something. I'm like, man, I need a tour there, I guess. Like, they hit my shit up.
But the thing is that people are always gonna remember you because, like, people that document, you don't forget those people, man, because you guys are doing God's work, man.
Yeah, most people forget I made music. Like, it's the other stuff people remember. I've had so many people come up to me for either I don't do it anymore too much, really, but the concert recording or this, you know, and people, I would just show up, and I've never met none of these people, and they would come up to me like they know me, which is not bad. I'm not like, but I'm still never was really used to that, you know, and they'd be like, yo, man, I'm happy, like, all the stuff you do is good and stuff, or like, you know, just proud I'm helping the community or something. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that's cool. I don't know. It sometimes it can just be hard to accept compliments. I'm working on that. I feel like I'm better at that now, but back then. But yeah, no, you're right. Like people, that's when people really started knowing me. It was more for either the podcast or the thing. I feel like usually people like one or the other. They don't necessarily like the both. But I feel like the concert thing I had to let go because I'm not in it. I'm not in it. Yeah. And it's just too hard to do everything, like we keep saying.
Well, it might seem insignificant, or maybe like you feel like it may not be as important as it is. But you're documenting history. It may not be important now. But in the next few years, man, people are gonna be like, yo, and it's like super great quality, and like you got this great camera, you got great audio, all that good stuff, man. So you know, you know what, like Biggie say, you know, you're nobody till somebody kills you. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Shit. Or like not kills you, but like even just
when
death.
You're dead, you know.
I remember when my family really started to get close. I'm talking about like my immediate family, was because my pops was about to die. That's what brought us together. It's usually life or death that brings you together. All right. For example, my brother just had a kid 3 months ago. It brought us closer together as a family. It's either life or death. One of the two.
I have a sister in New Jersey. She actually called me right when we started, but I call her on the way here. But I have a sister in New Jersey, and so all my siblings are half. They're either, you know, I'm from my mom or dad, you know. There is no, I'm the only one from both of them. But
you're the one that's not a hybrid.
Yeah.
True blood.
True blood. There you go. But like my that one, like, you know, I grow up and, you know, like you see her when you see her, and it is what it is. And then my dad dies, and that's like kind of like, I guess, the first time where we started sort of talking, you know, but she's still in New Jersey and whatever. And I didn't really want to talk about that at the time. I'm better now. I read this book, and just enough life stuff has happened to me, and I could talk about pretty much whatever at this point.
Sure.
But then, like, you know, I don't know, what is this, count 85? But then that girl happens, you know, and I get all depressed over that. And that combined with, like, reading that book, you know, like it's called Daring Greatly and stuff. That kind of changed my life too. But, like, I don't know, man, but I started talking to her, and, like, now me and her, like, we can just talk, like, for real, about real shit. And I can do that with both sisters, like, no, like, too. Like, I could do that with, like, and it strengthened a lot of my shit with a lot of friends. But yeah, like that sister in particular, I was like not even talking to her really, you know, but now like we have real conversation. She told me like all this shit about her life and vice versa. And like now it's like a real bond thing there too. And I don't remember why I was even telling this story, but it don't matter. But like the thing is, what comes from that though, like I say is like, man, like, you know, future is undecided. Maybe this person still gets to be my friend later or not, like, or like real friend, because I feel like we are friends, even if we're not, but more interacting friends. But I'm like, man, if it came at the loss, I mean, if it just took maybe me semi-losing somebody in my life, like, versus, I guess, maybe what I've gained with probably everybody else, like maybe in women in particular, my relationships with them, like, it's probably worth it, you know? Yeah.
You know what? Everything happens for a reason, man.
Yeah, man.
We have to be going through everything that we're going through for a reason, dude. Every time something shitty happens to me, man, I've tried to tell myself, remember that time that this shitty thing happened and something even better came out of it?
Yeah.
Because
A lot of people were telling me that
usually
too,
it works
but man,
that way. Usually it works
and I was
that
like,
way.
I believe it, but it's like, you know, you are where you are in the moment.
Process of getting there. No, I get that. I get that. But you know what, man? We have to try harder, especially in this society where everything is just fast paced. Give me, now.
Yeah.
We have to learn to be patient. Patience is a virtue. Sure, we can get to the point where like patience is a virtue, but enough is enough. But come on, we're not living in the 1800s, the 1400s for that matter. We're like all dying from plagues and everything's just the worst, and we don't have sources of heat and cooling and proper nutrition and all that stuff. Like, I mean, besides all the problems we have in the world, we're living pretty comfortably as a society, as a world species.
Great poet Nas once made an album called Life is Good.
Nas, never heard of her.
Yeah. One day, dude. I'll tell it's another part of New York. It's one of those boroughs that it's one of those boroughs.
Oh, is that Kings?
Yes,
is that the Kingsborough?
It's the Kingsborough.
Oh, that was a good album.
Kingsbridge.
Kingsbridge. The Kings is over. The Kings is over.
Damn. But here I'll intersperse this with what is one thing you believe that people think you're crazy for believing?
Oh my God, that's an excellent question.
That was one of the life.
Oh my God. I am not prepared for that question. Let me see here.
That's why God made editing. That's why God made You were really good at spilling cans, by the way.
Yeah, I am. I'm excellent. If there was a sport, forget it.
We
Be
get like
Michael
bubble
Jordan
wrap
of
on the
this shit.
XLR cables.
I spill them shits with style, son. Wow. Oh my God, I had never thought about that. I think people are just okay with me being a little crazy and a little kooky. They're just like, if I say something crazy, people are just like, oh, okay. And they just like, that's just art. That's just art.
Crow only did one life question, so he didn't get that one. But can you imagine what his answer might have been?
Oh man! Yo, shout out to Crow. What a unique perspective on that guy, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. And I'm sure, you know what? As soon as I'm watching this, right now, I'm like watching this right now, and you're just like, you should have talked about that thing you're thinking about right now. And I know as soon as I watch this, I'll be like, oh, I should have said this. Dang it. All right, hit me with another one, man.
Okay.
That was to be continued.
All right, so
Boosh
instead
Life
of that
Part
one,
2.
I'll try to bring it up later. But there's the all right. So we got caught up on Sayer there, but from Estos Vastos. I can't talk Spanish is hard, man. For us,
did not grow up in Spanish Harlem.
No, I did not. That being said, here's more butchering Spanish. I always love the verse at the end of the video. I always jam that last song a lot. I wish there was a good recording of that last song.
Which one?
It's where you go, Padre Nuestro, blah, blah, blah. So you use that verse a lot in other things, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's one of your main talents, dude. The hybrid Spanish, English shit in the same verse. You did it in the Crow album, too.
Yes.
That shit is tight, dude. Like, that's something you can do that not a lot of us can do.
Well, you know, the thing that gets me about that is it's not a new concept.
It's not.
It's not anything that hasn't been undone.
A lot of us who are maybe in more the English rap own it, and then you do it both in the same, but you're doing it in, I guess, a lot of English speakers around it. So that makes it more unique. It stands out more.
Well, you know, the thing about that is that I'm like, really? Nobody? Like, none of you are going to do what I'm doing? Nobody's going to mix the bilingual stuff with it?
He has the potential to do that, too.
Oh, he definitely has the potential.
And he does do it here and there.
Okay, so I'm speaking on mostly on MCs and rappers from my hometown, Laredo.
Okay.
Dog, they say the N-word.
Yeah.
They speak in Ebonics. I'm like,
they didn't make it their own.
Like
they didn't
that.
make it their own. Yeah.
We didn't grow up like that.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about, that's how I really talk. When I code switch and I flip from English to Spanish, that's how I really talk. I'm not doing that with you because the language barrier is not quite there. In Laredo, I can do that all day. I can code switch all day. You know, every sentence that you say in Laredo is English and Spanish. So I get frustrated when I see my peers in Laredo, they're rapping and they're doing this, and they sound like they're going for the Ebonic, like
Trying to be something,
cliche.
yeah.
I hate to say it like this, but like the black sound,
Yeah.
or like just how they portray. I'm like, dude, we have culture too. You can talk about your own things, dude. The Raspa Man, that song changed my life.
Hard, man. That song
changed my life.
I love the Raspa Man.
You know what?
Yeah.
The Raspa Man, that's real shit. That's something that I grew up with when I was a kid.
My favorite version. I have to hear the recording of it again on radio, but I feel like my favorite version of it is the Nahuatlatos one.
Oh, that's because you haven't heard the Radio Tierra version.
I'll hear it. That's
It's
what I'm saying.
recorded.
I'll hear it again.
Yeah.
I was kind of caught up on Luis playing a certain melody because this is recorded.
Yeah.
That shit's hard, bro.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. My favorite version of it is with Radio Tierra.
Okay.
But my favorite way to perform it is with Los Nahuatlatos. Because that one is like
and that's what I'm
energy,
talking about.
bro.
That's what I'm talking about.
Energy.
Yeah. It was hard there, man.
So there's three versions of that song.
yeah.
There's the I-35 version, which is not alive. The Nahuatlatos version, which we haven't done in such a long time, and they really don't bring it out.
I might be mixing my song. Raspa Man is where he plays the song, right?
Who?
The where he does no.
Yes, but that's the Radio Tierra version.
Yeah. So I did hear it. What am I talking about? I like that version too. I just feel like now a lot. Like you said, man, the energy there, and everybody's going all hard. Yeah,
I did it in.
I jammed that Boosh session version a few times.
Man, that one. Man, I remember that day. I was in such a bad mood. My bad. I really tried to be professional, but I was in a really bad mood that day.
That's all good.
We did Raspa Man with Los Nahuatlatos in Dallas. Packed theater. I think it was like 300, 400 people. I did the song, I finished, and it was just applause, man. It was beautiful, dude. And I was just like, it's the energy in the hits. Da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And that's the Nahuatlatos version. The Radio Tierra version is just real. And it's just very groovy, and it's just like,
and it's
you
hard
sink
too,
into
though.
it.
I like it too because it has the hip hop melodies.
There's good
and stuff.
Well, it's such a powerful song.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me for that song, and I had to decide where I wanted to really solidify it and just cement it into one project. When I auditioned for Los Nahuatlatos, I was doing a bunch of stuff, and they were like, "Oh, that's cool. And then I did Raspa Man, and I saw everybody's just eyes just open up real big, and they were like, "That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one." But I had tried to record it with them before. They had kind of talked about maybe getting it recorded for the next album. It didn't happen as fast as I wanted to. I jumped the gun. I did it with Radio Tierra.
It's still good, man.
No regrets.
Yeah, man.
No regrets. I will still happily do it with Los Nahuatlatos, and I plan to in the future. It'll just have to be, hey, this is a Radio Tierra cover. Because we do plenty of covers. We do lots of covers. We do excellent covers. So to do a cover of a local band, that shit is just gangster as fuck, man. And we have 2 members from Radio Tierra in Los Nahuatlatos.
Yeah.
So why not?
They can do it.
Pay homage and do a little tribute, man. Why not? We're all family, man. We all love each other. As much as we may, have like little attitudes towards each other, would be catty, but it's all love, man. At the end of the day, we'll all be there for each other,
I'm gonna ask another question.
What's up? Lay it on me. Man, I can't believe you
So
stumped
you really don't
me.
have you don't have one for that?
I can't believe you stumped me on that one. I really have to think about that one.
If you were rich, how would you live your life?
If I was rich, how would I live my life?
Yeah.
I hope very meagerly, because I believe that money truly poisons people. You can look it up online. There's a million stories of people winning the lottery. And just ruining their lives.
I believe that comes from what we've talked about a lot in this podcast, the perspective. I think when you go from here to,
the cheat code.
Yeah.
You go crazy, man. Think about when you type in cheat codes on GTA. You go wild, man. You go for like the top of the top. And I feel like the same thing with money. You know, I would hope if I was rich, I had sense enough to say, okay, I'm going to pay off my debts. I'm going to pay off my family's debts. Select friends, help them out. If I was rich enough, I'd be like, Abe, what do you need? What equipment can I help you get
Actual
to be
cameras,
more
right?
creative? Hey, I'll say it on the record. I will say it on the record, man. If I had the money for it, I would fund the arts, but I would start with my friends. And I would start people in my circle. And then after that, if there was anything left after that, maybe throw a nice little party and be done with it and keep working.
Bar sessions,
yeah. Yo, after that, be done with it.
I'll be honest. I mentioned the concert. The only one of the main reasons that stops because and I've said don't have me, but that's me saying it in a world where like, well, I have to do activities to make money. If I was 100% completely like free from all that and this is all I'm doing, then I totally would still be doing concerts. I'd probably just be doing them free. But I mean, like, in a world where like I still don't want to let go of me as an artist and I have to do other things to make money, it's like, I can't do everything.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, I still like it.
Pick your battles.
Yeah, exactly. I still like it.
Wow. Those are great questions, by the way, because ever since the rollout of this Radio Tierra album, I've been doing a lot of podcasts. I've been doing a lot of radio stuff.
What other podcasts you doing? Let me see the comp.
Shout out Ian Grant, Big's House. He has a podcast. Shout out to TAC Podcast. That's with Josh and Alec. That's TAC, TAQ, short for True Alpha Qualities, which is not like alpha as in alpha, but like alpha as in like compassion and alpha as in, supremacy as a human and stuff like that. We also did Isoropia Radio on KRTU. And then last Wednesday we did The Garden with Professor X on KSYM. So, and those are all available on our website.
This is mad surprise. My friend, she turned on the wrist. She always has it on there, and I was like, "Yo, I know this guy."
No shit, that's crazy.
That's why I did it.
We shouted you out. We were just like, "Yo, shout out!"
Really?
Yeah, we were like, "Yo, shout out to," because we took we didn't take a break, but like he was playing music in between, like during us talking and stuff like that. Yeah. I happened to pull my phone out and I saw that you tagged us in the thing. And I was like, yo, Abe is listening right now. And as soon as we got back on air, and I was just like, yo, shout out to Abe. Shout out to this person.
I missed that. We were moving, so we'd keep going AB.
Well, there's gonna be a they had a computer there that was recording everything as far as audio.
Do they have an archive?
They are gonna have it archived. So when I find it, I'll link it and I'll put it on the website and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, man.
But it was a lot of fun. It was 2 whole hours on the radio.
Oh shit.
2 whole hours.
Shit.
We managed, man.
Takeover, baby.
It was fun, man. It was fun, dude. He was just like, hey man, just please don't curse, right? And then like it was good. Like even the
like
song,
stereotype rappers. It was like
yeah. And like we were doing the verses and I was just like and it was just like really biting my tongue to not say the curse word.
Yeah.
And there was this little moment where like we're talking and he said something so lax, like it wasn't even a big deal. And he's just like, oh, have you guys heard of this local band, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh yeah, they're fucking badass. And I was just like, damn it. It's like, motherfucker. I was
that
like,
part is more natural. The reaction was more natural.
Yeah. I was like, damn it, this whole time, this is when I curse.
So
shit.
So you win Nahuatlatos, and then where does the you have the Vatos going, but I guess that has its time.
It didn't work out.
Yeah, that
didn't work out.
But so is that when you're like, I need something new?
With the
you need something from me.
The Estos Vatos thing.
You ain't gotta touch on that. If you want to, you can. But I just mean, how do we get to radio? Is what I'm trying to get to.
It kind of does touch on that, and it goes back to like, I have this really bad luck with people not sharing the same passion that I have.
I get it. And there's no more Boosh Kid shows, right? There's no more. You never got to see them, but I mean,
you know what's up. You know what's up, man. And with that dude, it just got to the point where I was like, dog, I need you. I was like, I need you to, like, just answer your messages. I send you messages and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I'm really trying to make it easy for you. And then like some serious life stuff happened with him. And it just got to the point where he was just like, you know, I need your help with this. Can you help me out with that? And it was this. And it was just like, you know, it's just babysitting. This is not us being productive and creative. So I just decided not to do it anymore. And I was kind of at a standstill. And I was like, dude, I just went hard with this thing. I put money into it. I got video done. I got logo and artworks done.
It drains you.
And I'm just like, man, I'm so discouraged. But thank God, there's always people watching. And Luis Gonzalez, shout out to Luis Gonzalez, the guitarist for Los Nahuatlatos. He started making beats. And he sent me a few beats. And I was like, yo, this shit is hot. I wrote to it, wrote to this, wrote to that. And it was cool, man. And we started having a good time. And, you know, next thing you know, he was like, hey, man, we should try to make a live version of this. I'm down, man. Who do you got in mind? All right, let's get this person. Boom, we get Sarah. Sarah's an amazing bassist. We get Palo, an amazing drummer. There was a keyboard player that didn't make it. You know, that was, you know, neither here nor there. He has a bunch of other stuff that he's working on. No big deal. But it really stemmed from, like, I think his frustration, Luis's frustration with whatever musical projects he was in at the time, and my frustration. And then we took those frustrations, we put them together. He got some good people, and we all meshed together. And ever since the very first rehearsal, it's been on, man. And we haven't missed a beat since. And, like, it's been so unconventional the way that this has all happened. Everything has happened so quick. We've already done radio twice, and we haven't even been around a year. We've done countless videos. We actually have our stuff on streaming platforms. Like, this is the most professional I've ever been with a musical project that I'm directly involved with. You know, Los Nahuatlatos, I love it. It's my heart. I love it. But, you know, I don't contribute too much creatively. I've written one song, which is the one song that you mentioned with the Padre Nuestro que estás en el cielo, with that ending.
Oh, okay.
I wrote it for Los Nahuatlatos' last album, but it got cut. And then fast forward, they write this other song. Well, I had written a verse, and I spit it for them a cappella one day, and they were just like, "Yo!" And it's all about Los Nahuatlatos, right? They were like, "Yo, that shit is crazy." And then one day Nicolas came up with a riff on his accordion, and then everybody else came up with something. And I think the first time we ever did it had to be on stage. And they were just like, "Yo, that thing you got, spit it to this." And it's just, it went, and it took a life of its own. And then later on, I added that little verse at the end that we didn't put on the first album. And I'm so glad it didn't go on that album, because now I have that long verse, the interlude, and now I have that little short verse at the end, and now I have a full Nahuatlato song. So, and that one's going on album number 3 whenever we get it done. So I've got my eggs in a lot of different baskets.
Diversify them bonds.
Diversify your egg baskets.
Let's see.
How you feeling, dog?
We alright, man. We alright. Oh, here's a stereotype Abe question right here. This is one of the reasons why I started stuff like this. What's your goal in life?
My goal in life is to make sure that the people around me are all right and that I'm all right. Whether that's creatively, financially, just, I think we're all kind of searching for happiness, and we all want to be comfortable. We don't want to suffer. So any way that I can do things that reduce suffering in the world or in my own life. I don't need to be rich, man. I don't need to be famous. I don't need big houses, big cars. I just need the people around me to be okay. That's my main thing. I'm a huge empath. I'm just very compassionate. Sometimes I wish I wasn't. It's a little bit of a hindrance, if you will, because I do care so much sometimes. You may not see it as much, but I think about my friends and my family all the time, and that can be a huge source of either stress or
Yeah, you spend a lot of energy on that.
It is. And at the end of the day, when you asked me what I wanted, if I was rich, what I would do, I told you, pay off my family's debts, pay off my friends' debts, help my friends succeed. Because you know what? At the end of the day, if you're good, I'm good. If everybody else around me is good, I'm good. So it starts a chain reaction of just goodness around your circle, and then eventually it branches off to other places and other, circles. And next thing you know, we're all okay. And, that's how we will succeed as a society. But I'm sure we're, it's far from where we are now. But it starts with your hopes and your dreams and your goals, So those are the things that I try to speak into reality. It's just everyone around me being good and being happy. And I'm so happy for Craw right now. It's been a long time coming for him to do this album. He's been talking about it forever. That riff, like we've all, like even watching his parents talk about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's had that brewing in his mind forever. And what happened? All his friends came together and we all helped him bring it to life. That is like, that's a goal. That's beautiful to see stuff like that come to fruition. That's my goal. That sort of happiness is what I'm trying to achieve. I think that when you showed me that video of Craw, like getting real emotional, like I think there was tears of joy in there too.
Oh yeah.
It was a sad topic, but man, he's just like, I did it. I cemented this moment in my life, and I cemented this thing that's important to me, and if it's important to you, it's important to me because you're important to me, So as long as people around me are good, man, that's the main goal, dude. Because if everyone's around me is good, I'm gonna be good, and I just want to be good.
I got you.
You are asking the best questions out of any interviewer I've ever had.
I mean, like, dude, these are the only. I feel like these are the only conversations. No, that sounds harsh, but like those are conversations I like worth having. I don't want to say it's the only thing, but I just feel like as I contemplate my life and I walk through it, I'm like, those are the things that interest me.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I'm sure you've heard it all too, man. Because
in some ways,
since
that's why I'll never stop this. I like hearing the journeys and shit.
Since I started to roll out of this album, like I said, I did a lot of like press, even local radio stuff like that. And it's always like, I feel like I haven't had to drive this conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't had to do that.
But you still carrying it?
That's okay. But that's only
purpose,
that's only because you're making me break off into tangents because you're opening all these different windows for me to go through. Hey! Yo, so like I'm able to break off, but like I'm not gonna say specifics. I won't say who, but like for example, I did a few where they're just like, so tell us about like yourself and music. Dog, that's such a broad question. Be more specific. Like
I do like to ask the first one. That's why I was like, who are? Because then it goes anywhere. Then we can take it
anywhere. You can take it
so
anywhere.
You can even make that question a good one, but you just gotta ask it better than what you just said.
Absolutely. And I'm just like, I remember like I get these questions and I'm just like, all right, I see I have to take control of the situation, right?
Yeah.
And they just ask me I remember almost every interview that I start with has started with one question. And then after that, it's just me setting up questions for them.
Yeah. Be a bit of a train wreck.
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to, because I'm just like, if it starts getting to the point where it's just like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite album?
Oof.
Dog, come on, man. You got to try better than that. Do a little bit of research. That's it. Unless you're a natural, unless you're somebody who like you and I have known each other for a while.
Yeah.
So it's easier to be like, oh, well, I know this about you. Tell me about this.
Yeah.
Or like maybe you can cater some questions, whether you've written them before or not, to be like, oh, I've always wanted to know this about you. But those people, they don't know me. And I feel like a lot of those people just kind of went into it and they were just like, I'm going to hope for the best and just hope that I get a good guest that can really break off into tangents.
I like to, I have the life questions for the end, but then I like to gamble too of the proper thing. And yes, I do happen to know of you because we've interacted a lot. But I do like the gamble of the real conversation, and I've done it enough that I'm confident 9 times out of 10 it'll be enough. However, there was one podcast I did in September, and I was in that depression funk. August and September, counter number, whatever. But I didn't want to do it. But we had set that up maybe like 2 months in advance, and I'm like, yo, this girl's busy. I don't want to like push it back again, like she has it. So I was like, let's just do it. But I feel like she's a bit reserved, at least in that nature, in the podcast nature. And sometimes when I have people who maybe aren't the best talkers, but for some reason want to do it anyway, maybe I need to like hold their hand more. And I didn't have the strength that day. And I don't know if you can tell it in the podcast. I think if you're there live with no editing, you can tell it. But like normally I would be able to over talk till they're ready. I just didn't have it. I didn't have it, man. Like, cause I was just down, and all I could think of was that person.
Energy is very real.
Yeah,
and it's very contagious.
Cause I've done it in other shows with people who couldn't. People have complimented me on other shows. Were like, you got this person to talk, and I saw you like around minute 50. She woke up or something. But that day, I just didn't have it, man. Sure. Like, cause I didn't have it for me. How could I have it for someone else? You know what I mean? But now I'm starting to do these again. I'm in a better place. And yeah, man, and then that person even went to school with her, so it was just like all these, your mind would just look for connections, to fuck itself, so
it definitely is a lot easier this way, but it is also easier when you have a guest that just knows what the fuck is up.
I want that person on my podcast again. I have to do another one just for me.
You? Are you watching right now?
Watch this.
He needs you.
I need, just to write it for myself, just to, like, because I'm like, that should have been so much better.
Yeah.
But I don't think I asked this.
Where's the game breaker question?
The game breaker.
Game breaker.
I already did, right? It was like 30 minutes ago. But here's a more easier one.
All right.
So what are I guess like, what's next for radio, or like what's the next goal for them or something? Like.
It's real light. Take over the world.
Okay.
Real light.
The brain status.
Take over the world, man. You know what? Honestly, just make dope stuff, man. We released this album. I think everybody's kind of sick of it. We're already writing new music.
Oh, you mean the band?
No, the music. No. Yeah. People that are barely getting put onto it, they're like, oh my God, this is good, right? But I think the band, and I'm actually kind of happy that they feel this way. It's just like, all right, we did it. Let's move on.
Dude, and that's the way it should be.
Go like this.
That's why I put out some stuff, because I feel like I'll get better by doing more.
Sure.
That's why I keep like saying with the flow, I'm like 100 songs, baby.
I don't want to oversaturate, because as a writer, I do calculate my words very carefully when there comes to flows, delivery, syntax, cadence, all that stuff. I try to be very conscious of it. But especially in these times, words are harder to put together because you don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to say something that's going to be like, oh, he said this and now he's canceled.
I feel like this whole podcast is why I will never be employed. So I better figure out how to make money on my own, because here's like just episode after episode of incriminating evidence why you shouldn't hire me.
Do you have a resume? Nah, but I got 200 episodes you could watch.
Yeah. What's the biggest mistake you ever did? Like, well, let's pick one.
I have 200 of them. Go ahead. You know what? If you want a reference, call my buddy Craw.
There you go. Oh, shit. He'll sell me so high. He actually, linked me.
He's official. He's a teacher.
Yeah, there you go. He's real. What 3 things you thankful for in life?
Number 1, I definitely have to say my family. They inspire me tremendously. Number 2 would be my friends and the people around me who are, creative and are able to inspire me to do great things and continue to do whatever it is that I'm doing, whether it's painting, it's rapping, it's performing, acting, whatever. Friends and family are the key. And the 3rd thing, which probably should have been my first, is I would probably say all the struggles and hurdles and pain that I've endured, because they have made me the person that I am today. So without going through all the bullshit, all the happy times would not be as happy without truly going through those really character building moments where you get put through the ringer. And that's the only reason why I've come out stronger from these things. So I like to change it to maybe from 3 to 1,
it's your stuff,
and then family,
yeah.
and then friends. So friends
There
would
you
be
go.
the third one, family would be the second,
Gotcha.
and then all my pain and hurdles would have to be number 1, because that's what shaped me as a human.
That's the circle right there. It starts from within and keeps going out. There you go. Is aLrboosh on hold, given that you're in so many groups? Or do you think at some point you make time for the solo? Or
I have about 6 aLrboosh songs written, ready to record. Shout out to Tommy Munter over at Matador Studios, man. You know, since I came in, since we both started talking, you know, he's been like, yo, man, you're official. I recorded the entire Radio Tierra album in 30 minutes. At least myself. We were there for about 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it was mostly instrumental stuff. 30 minutes. All my verses were done.
Damn.
Craw album. You were there.
Yeah.
1 take bars. I was done. Even in the percussion. I like to go in there ready to go. Right? So with this new joint, I'm just, I'm waiting for this Radio Tierra stuff to kind of die down, write a little bit more. And Tommy has already told me, he's just like, yo, man, I'm ready to see you come in here and do something else. And he's like, you know what? The first one, let's just do it. Let's just knock it out. Let's just not worry about money. I want to see what you got. And after that, I'm going to get excited. We're going to keep going. And then we'll get on a payment plan. Because that's his job. I want to pay him.
Yeah.
People deserve to be paid for what they do. So as soon as I have like a solid maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10 tracks, I'm just gonna go in there and drop them all at once.
Shit.
Especially since I don't have to worry about a band. I don't have to worry about
Yeah,
are the guitars good, are the drums good, is the bass good. I'm just gonna go in instrumentals in hand and just say, here you go. I've got, God bless, man. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of people feed me beats, and I'm currently sitting like on a good 50 beats. It's a lot, but like it goes back to like it's hard to pick the right words, and it's hard to do things that haven't already been done. And I am super against mediocrity and plagiarism and doing anything that's already been done. If I do something that's going to be unique, it's going to be eye-catching, it's going to be ear-catching. You're going to feel it. I want you to really feel it. I don't want to do anything that's just a shitty knockoff of whatever's popular, I will blend old with the new and the current and the old. I'll do it. I'll blend it, but it will always be my own brand, and it will always be how I feel about it, So work hard, man. Work hard, dude. Stop fucking around, dude. Don't play with me. I will judge your ass.
Where do you see yourself 3 years in the future?
3 years in the future, I hope to see myself with a little more financial independence, meaning less debt. Hopefully with more creative opportunities. Like I mentioned, man, if I get famous, cool. If I don't, cool. If I get rich, cool. If I don't, cool. It's part of the
attachment to the outcomes, dude.
Absolutely. I'm not, I've learned.
That was a big part of my depression this year.
It's all about attachments. It's like like I just told you, I sent some stuff out to Sair, right? And I sent some stuff out to another local fan here. And I sent them some packages today. I had a bunch of, like, if you see my house, man, it's full of all these little random trinkets everywhere. That's what I put in the package. It's just all these little things that I've acquired that are, maybe at one time I thought, oh, this is super cool. Like, oh man, look at this thing right here. It's just like, oh, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
After a while, you do have to let it go. Because you can't take all this stuff with you when you die.
Yeah.
So it's important not to be overly attached to anything, any person, any idea, any kind of ideology, you know? Because at the end of the day, the only one you're hurting is yourself. Because if you can't let go, on Fonte's album, he has a new one. Man, I can't remember what the new album is. Excellent album. But he has this sample, this reoccurring sample that says, you're only as old as your ability to process new information. So that's truly when you get old. It's not when your body breaks down.
No, that's true.
It's when your mind can't move forward and adapt to new ideas. That's truly when you become an old person.
That's why when I hear myself talk about video, like you heard me sometime, I'm like, yo, am I just denying learning? Like, at least in that field? Because I don't deny it in a lot of other fields, but am I just like being, I don't know, like just running away from learning, at least in that field, you know?
Never stop learning, man.
Nah, you can't.
Never stop.
And it's funny because I don't do it for a lot of other fields. I'm like more about it. I'm read books almost every day. I woke up late today, so I didn't get to read today, but yeah, I do that all the time. But I don't know.
Taking new information, brother?
Yeah, man. What is the perfect day?
For me?
Yeah.
The perfect day for me is waking up at whatever time you want. First off.
Yeah.
Sun in your face. That's why, as you saw my room, I have a big window in there, and I leave it open in the mornings.
Couch staring at the window, dude.
Couch staring at the window. Yeah. No TV.
Yeah.
Couch staring at the window. Because I want the sun to just be like, wake up, wake up, wake up. Don't stay in bed. Stop. Get up, man. Go get it. Get up, get out, and go get it.
That was a thing for me, dude, for like during those 2 months. Like, I just didn't want to get up.
It's detrimental
that
to have those like really thick curtains.
That never happened to me till this year.
It's detrimental, man.
It's crazy.
It's detrimental. So, perfect day, lots of sun, good food, always good food, good beverages, and fill your day with the things that make you happy. It doesn't just have to be drugs or alcohol or whatever. I'm talking about productive days where you do something with your life. I'm not talking about I'm just chilling all day and they're bringing me margaritas all day and I'm just puffing big blunts and that's such a perfect day and I get to eat fucking Italian food all day. No. Be productive. Yes, eat good food. Yes, have your drinks, do whatever you want to do, but be productive. Produce. Come up with new concepts. Take your mind out of where you usually are. That to me is a perfect day. It's just like, dude, today is totally different from yesterday. Yesterday, I went to work, I did this and I did that routine. Okay, how about this? Short answer. Any day I can break from routine is a perfect day. How about that?
It's funny. I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to stick to a routine that I break all the time. But I think for me, I've been so free. Like a lot of my friends, they've done like amazing things sometimes, but I tend to take, a lot of times we tend to gravitate to the negative. So we think we're the ones sucking. But my friend likes to always point out, dude, last time I checked, you ain't had a real job since when? And it's like, I'm like December of 2015. He's like, and he's like, well, it looks like you're doing pretty fine to me. And it's coming from somebody who probably won't ever have to work again, like in the next 3 to 5 years. Like he's just building up. He's working real hard right now. But he's like, look like you fine to me. Like you ain't out in the streets or nothing. Right? It's like, so what you complaining about? And I'm like, if I do, my problem is I'm so used to, this is like for anything I do. I'm so used to just going down and doing whatever it is I do, tucking my head down, that I forget to ever look back at anything I've done, And that's how you wind up with maybe too many podcasts. Yeah. So I'm like, if every now and then, if I force myself, I just pick myself, I'm like, oh, that is kind of crazy that I was able to survive like this without, because obviously I'm working, but I'm just not working in the traditional 40 hours environment that I used to do growing up, And I still even though I've applied here and there and gotten turned down relentlessly, But at the same time, those probably blessings too, because it's like I don't really want to be there. It's just like the easy way out mentally for money, you know?
Yeah. Yo, it's funny that you mentioned, you know, people will only remember the negative things.
Yeah.
It's like
ourselves too.
If there's a musician,
yeah,
and they're just going off. Say somebody's playing guitar, they hit that one wrong note. That's all you're gonna remember is that one wrong note.
But did you see the Craw clip? There are no wrong notes.
Yeah, there are no wrong notes. He's like, but
that was so
I
funny.
feel like there is wrong notes. He's all,
and then he does the note. He does the badoo. He does the yeah. That's so good. But,
yo, you know what? I actually wrote the verse that I recorded at Matador.
Yeah.
Watching that video.
Damn.
So I was watching it.
Influence.
I'd get inspired by something. I'd pause it and I'd write. And then I keep watching the video. And then I write a little more, pause it, and keep going. And I watched the whole video. And that's how I wrote that verse that I did for the Craw album.
See, because I heard your verse. And even though my flow is what it is right now, but I like my verse too. Because they're both littered with Crawisms. Like like me, like the way I did is, I was like, so what's this song about or what it is? And he gives me the clip, pouring out the window, if you saw that clip. So like, I think I use most of the lines that he says in that, you know, and then bounce off of that. And I kept coming through it.
The Spanish part in the beginning is
I
pretty
like
much
that
what
too.
he said, but I said it in Spanish. It's not the same exactly, but it touches on the same phrases that he's talking about. Like, time pouring out my window.
Yeah.
You know, and the only thing I added extra was the thing about the sun and my window. I said, la luz del sol me toca mi ventana.
Which is right there.
The light of the sun
which is what's going on in your room right now.
That's exactly
well, not
it, man.
right now, but you know, normally.
And that's my favorite place to write is right in front of that window. So I don't know if you noticed, but I have my rhyme book there. I have a little lamp, and I just look out the window and I just write.
Still physical book.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, man. Listen, I don't put it onto my notes in my phone until it's done. Or like, I won't put it into my phone until it's at least 75% written, only because I've written so many words and so many things on that paper. It's so sloppy, I can't even understand it anymore. Damn. And I have to write it on my phone so I can keep up where I am. And then I'll write that last 25% on my phone.
Yeah, see,
I have rhyme books on rhyme books on rhyme books.
No matter what I turn into, I'm probably gonna always be different because I never did. That's not true. I did have a rhyme book back when I never even cared about rap. I don't start making music till my like young 20s. So, but I do still have it like in the garage. This rhyme notebook,
you know.
But it's like we were as high school, like you know. Puberty dumb shit, you know.
I mean, we didn't have a phone in our pockets to just write notes into, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I do write like a bunch of shit, and then I treated Instagram like a rhyme notebook forever to make me better. But what was good about that is that it helped me callous to get rid of other people's thoughts.
Yeah,
because I remember the first time that used to be an issue, you know. For me. Not so much anymore.
I treat rhyme books like sketchbooks. I usually
playing around.
That's me playing around. Yeah. When I write my rhymes, I use 2 pages. Page on the left is all words that I want to use.
Oh shit!
They're phrases that I want to use. They're ideas that I came up with. On the next page, on the right-hand side, is when I start creating the rhyme.
Jeez.
So I'll look at all my notes on my left-hand side. There's this word. Okay, I want to use this word in the first rhyme. Okay, this is the word. Okay, what's the word? How does this word? How do I break it down? What does it mean? How can I flip it? What's the reverse? And I look at it in every single, whether it's a word or a phrase, I'll take that, write the first bar. After I write the first bar, it's like getting out of first gear if you're driving standard. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and then you're just going. But you have all your notes, you have your ideas, you have your concepts. So you may take a word or a phrase and it's over. You've written 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars off of one idea, one word, one phrase, one whatever.
This is that advanced tech right here, dude.
Dude, these are secrets I'm giving out.
Yeah, no.
And if you look at all my rhyme books, they're all like that. Left hand is notes, right hand is the beginning of the rhymes.
That's how you write the advanced rhymes. That's some shit, man.
Take it, man.
I need a parallel for that for digital. The only reason I cling to digital for stuff like that, because it would be, but like I really like having little as possible, just in case I gotta move. Maybe if I have one, when I do have a home where I'm like, this is fine, maybe I can expand, but I really like having, like, I think like right now, like I think I'm probably mentioned Phoenix to you or something. Like, I'm probably not going, but right now anyway, I do want to visit. But if I were to go, like I can go pack up everything in my room in one car trip. So I try to like keep it like that. So I try to not expand unless I have to. So anytime I can force it here,
there's people that are nomadic and there's people that are just like they're rooted.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm more of a rooted person. Yeah. But at the same time, I want to see the world. Yeah. I want to experience every single culture. I want to experience everything that this world has to offer before I die. And if that means moving and being out of my comfort zone, so be it. If anything, you have more balls than a whole lot of us, because you actually, dude, you're from a coast. You're from a whole nother coast, and you're down here in the South, and you're doing your thing. People love you down here, man. You've connected with a shit ton of people here in Texas that are super talented. And like you said, whether it's Phoenix or wherever else, you've told me that you won't go back to New York or you won't come back to Texas because you got to keep it moving. You're a nomad. What's the next thing? Where's the next scene? Where is the next thing that's going to make a splash in this world, in this society, And that's super admirable, because not a lot of people have the kind of guts that you do. Yes, you may say, you know what, I'm living for free. I'm doing credit cards. I'm doing this and this and that. But you're also doing really important work. And the day you die, all that debt's going to be irrelevant.
Yeah.
All the suffering that you went through, irrelevant. But you know what? That's going to live forever. Cemented into our existence. People could be watching this 500 years in the future. They're like,
the legend of Barz, dude.
What are podcasts? What is this thing we see this word that keeps coming up?
We podcasts. Do telekinetic shows,
Well, I mean, we'll live forever too. I mean, souls are eternal, right? So this is just a vessel. This vessel will eventually run out. That vessel will run out. But the ideas won't die, man. We're humans. We're resilient. We find a way. The humanity doesn't start and end with you or with me. It keeps going, man. Death is inevitable. Don't worry about stuff so much, because we're gonna die.
Yeah, man.
So at the end of the day, I have a feeling when I die, I don't want to be like, oh, what if? Oh, I should have. Oh, I could have. No.
And for for as sad as I was this year, it was all because I didn't want to live with a what if. And I know, I just was attached maybe a little too hard to the outcome.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, that's another what if crossed off the list, which is, good at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Because I went as hard as I did this year because I think I lived for too long with the what if. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore, So yeah, man, I feel you on that. Thank you for the words you said earlier. Of course, man. That's my superpower. That's true. If you enjoyed that question that you couldn't answer, I think you're gonna love this one. This is the final question.
Okay, come on, hit me with it.
What is the question I should have asked you but I didn't?
Damn it! Hey. All right, I got one.
That's another one that I'm curious for Craw.
You know what you should have asked me?
What should I have asked you?
Because it says a lot about somebody. Is what's my favorite dinosaur?
Oh, what is your favorite dinosaur? T-Rex, probably for me growing up. Not you. I wasn't guessing. But
Brontosaurus.
The long neck giraffe thing. Oh wow. Brachiosaurus.
Yes.
However.
Because they're peaceful dinosaurs.
They're not
quite. But check this out. Yeah. That's how you know that it's like a very personality driven thing. Answer. Brontosaurus, very peaceful. They mostly eat plants.
Yeah.
T-Rex. Yo, those dudes are rowdy, man.
Yeah,
And they want to
arms.
chomp some flesh, dude.
And then, you know what? As I said that, I was like, maybe as I've seen more, I might be on Team Raptor, which relates to my favorite animal, because raptors are quicker, and I like cheetahs. Like, that's what, like, I used to want to be a cheetah when I grew up. I'm still not one, so I guess this is not happening. But I really like cheetahs, too. I don't know why. They just really fucking fast.
The ocelot. You know what the ocelot is?
Nah, what's that?
That's like the Mayan word, or Mayan or Aztec word for the cheetah. The ocelot.
Really?
I went to go see the...
Why do you know that?
I went to go see the pyramids in Chichen Itza, which are in the Yucatan Peninsula, which if you look at Mexico, you know, it's like a little point like this.
Yeah.
Down here
Oh,
is
wow.
where I was. And there's
Is that the area when I see pictures of people and they're at these pyramid areas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Chichen Itza, Yucatan. I forgot the other set of pyramids at this very moment. But anyway, Chichen Itza was the one that I went to. And like you walk up and there's like these huge pyramids, man. And you're just like you can just imagine like climbing up, because you can't climb up them anymore. You can just imagine yourself like climbing up the pyramids. Anyway, the cheetahs are a huge part of the mythology, and they use a lot of that stuff. And there was these natives out there, and you know, they're surviving, they're hustling. So they have all these tourists that come in, and they would sell all these things. Amongst one of those things that they sold was a cheetah whistle. It was called the ocelot whistle.
Does it bring it or scare it away?
It's to scare people away. So like, you know, back in the day, like, you know, if they had like a rival tribe coming to come and do something or steal something, they would blow that whistle and be like,
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, it wasn't a cheetah, it was a jaguar. I'm sorry, it was a jaguar. The jaguar is the ocelot. But anyway, they have these jaguar whistles. And they're all, wow. And it sounds, and it's loud, dude. It is loud, man. But anyway, that's how I learned about the ocelot and all that shit from that trip to the Yucatan and seeing Chichen Itza in all its beautiful glory. And it's weird walking up there being the person that I am, because you know, you can tell from my hair, man, I'm Spanish. I'm a Spanish dude.
That's why it makes me laugh when you tell all these stories and you're the white boy.
yeah. I love it.
Because I only know you now. Because I only know you now.
It's like, dog, I'm like, I grew up being like, I don't want to say scared of white people, but that's the only group of people that ever made me uncomfortable. I have no problem being around Hispanics. I have no problem being around the African American community. Anybody, foreigners, people from Europe, anybody, Chinese people.
I thought I was white growing up.
You thought you were white, you said?
Because I thought there was only white and black people when you see it on TV and you're a kid. And then Michael Jackson made his song, it don't matter if you're white or black. He ain't add no other Crayolas in there. You know what I mean? So like, and then I remember hearing like Hot 97, the radio station over there, and it was like Puerto Rico, oh. And then one day, like my mom's like, "No, we Puerto Rican." I was like, "What?
Boricua?"
Yeah, I was like, "What? Like, so I'm not even one of the two. Like, I'm like something else.
I'm half pit bull."
Yeah. I was like, so yeah, man. I don't know. That was all confusing to me growing up.
Yeah.
Like all the races. And
you know, that's the thing that I love about playing with Los Nahuatlatos, man, is they helped me reconnect with my roots. Because growing up in the situation that I was in, where you have to essentially be something other than what you are. I was a Mexican American, but I had to fake like I was just an American in a place that is 90% Hispanic. So I got bullied for being the white boy, and I couldn't say, I'm not a white boy, I'm from Mexico. Because there would be danger behind that. So I couldn't just come right out and say it. So when I moved to San Antonio, that's when it was really like, oh, people celebrate their culture here. People in Laredo don't celebrate their culture. They want to go against what they know, because they're like, oh, I don't want to listen to cumbias and conjunto because that's what my parents listen to. I want to listen to what the Americans are listening to, because I want to be a part of the American lifestyle, because I'm illegal, or you know, I'm this, but I need to be this in order to be accepted. And that was a large part of my growing up. Limp Bizkit, Korn, Kid Rock, all that stuff. That was me reaching for things that weren't part of my culture. And I fell in love with that stuff. And then when I got with Los Nahuatlatos, I was like, it awakened something in me that was already there. It's like, I've heard this music growing up, but I never had the appreciation for it. Now I have the appreciation for it because I have a different perspective.
Journey takes us full circle, man.
There's a word for it. It's called quaversal. Q-U-A. So the first Q-U-A and the second Q-U-A sound different. So it's quaversal.
Oh, man.
And that means when things go back in full circle. Quaversal.
Damn. There's also the Ouroboros.
Huh?
The Ouroboros. I'm probably saying that wrong.
The what?
U-R-O-B-O. Ouroboros. You could Google that shit. I don't know.
Eurobos?
I feel like every time it looks like a fucked up circle, but it's usually not good stuff. It's usually not meant to mean something good, like the circle of life or some shit.
It's like the Bermuda Circle.
I don't know. We gotta look it up. I just know it from like metal and dumb shit like that. But yeah.
Hey, metal's not dumb.
Well,
I love metal.
That was a big part of me too. But it wasn't really American metal though. Outside of Dream Theater, almost every band I was into was either Japanese or European somewhere. So
it's like what's that band that Gall's in?
Oh fuck, I forgot. He used to have the best interviews.
Oh dude, did you what were his all? What's your driving force and what is it that you love so much? And he's just like
the wine and Satan, right? The wine where he takes a sip of wine.
He's all. It's funny because he's all Satan. Yes. Hey, yes.
I don't even think that dude's like a good musician. He's just like a great idea. He's just like
you know what? Think of some of the shittiest things in the world that made it to be like super crazy. Dude, think of your buddy Psy. Nobody ever thought that he was gonna make it to what he is today.
I mean, Kiss probably the same thing. Gene Simmons.
Same thing, man. I mean, anything. Hip hop. Punk rock.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that it would go to where it is now. Now it's a dominant force, man.
That's why. Because I know we all have our own things, and you're more meticulous. But that's why I put everything out there, because you never know what is the thing that people want from you. You know, even though because we as artists have our wants. Like, really think song A is amazing, but everybody might be like song A is trash. But song 6 that you didn't want to put on the album, but Steve said you should put it on the album. That shit might blow up. Steve knew what the fuck he was talking about.
Yo, Steve. Steve is an intellect.
Yes. At least he's an intellect in the mainstream culture, and he knew what was up because he ain't a fucking artist,
Word.
So that's what it is. Where can the people find you online and all your projects?
If they want to reach out to me directly, you can go to Chuy Chido, and that's the Chicano spelling. That's XUY, because the X makes a ch sound. XUY_XIDO. That's my personal. And for my band, Radio
That was
Tierra.
Instagram, by the way.
That was Instagram. Well, mostly on everything.
Oh,
You can find me like that.
I just assumed
or
that
just
was
Google
Instagram.
Arturo Barz. I Googled myself the other day. Lots of results. And please look up Radio Tierra Band on Instagram. That's all one word. RADIOTIERRABAND. That's the Radio Tierra Band. And we also do have the website. That's the same thing, radiotierraband.com. Facebook, radiotierraband.com as well. But also check out Los Nahuatlatos, LOSNAHUATLATOS. Los Nahuatlatos, and that's los.nahuatlatos on Instagram. And also, if you're getting married, check us out with the wedding band. That's the San Antunes. Just have about $3 or $4 grand on hand because we some professionals. Yeah, what I mean, you know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Abe, any last words, man?
Well, it's it. That's my last question to you, actually. That's the last words.
Yo.
What are the last words?
Hey, man, the last words are love a lot and hate a little.
But a little.
Just a little.
I
know it's not that profound, but in a nutshell, man, just be good to each other.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for doing this. This was
Word.
real good,
Thank
man.
you,
I like
brother.
this, dude.
Thank you, man.
Bake
How
that
long
chicken.
did we do?
We're about to. It's like 250, but then there's like an edit there, so it's close to 3. But yeah, man, bake that chicken, smoke that turkey. Boosh.
Boosh. Boosh.
Fire pizza way.
Hey, do that. And that shit, brother. And that shit, brother. And that shit.